with all that it had and has made life really miserable for the Congress.
I think there were two chinks in the armor for the Congress, and I wasn't on the ground, so Preeti and others could tell this more. I think one was, could Haryana become like Chhattisgarh, where Congress thought it's basically an easy, short victory, and they became complacent at the last minute, and then it became a match. The second was, if there is going to be a serious sort of like polarization of Jats in favor of Congress, it will create another sort of like counter polarization in favor of Congress, and then it could become a match. So I'm not saying like BJP is like poised to win Haryana after 10 years, but it could become a contest title.
I think it's second. I think you're absolutely. You see, I don't think the Congress in Haryana, to be fair to them, for once got complacent. They fought till the end. You had Rahul Gandhi's yatras. They went for it. But the second point you make, I think, is critical. There is counter consolidation. Remember, there were riots in 2016, the Jat riots. And there was a sense that you've got, whether you like it or not, there has been polarization on the ground. In the Lok Sabha elections as well, correct me if I'm wrong, but the BJP led in more constituencies than the Congress, 44 to 40. No, just a minute. You cannot deny, if these numbers, we have to go by the numbers. Yes. If these numbers are there, there is a counter polarization that is taking place.
Is because if you look at how these numbers are spread out, Rajdeep, it doesn't smack of polarization. They're spread out across all regions in terms of favor for the BJP, even in the Jat strongholds.
What is happening?
Can I add to?
If the Jats are 30%, the non-Jats also
Rajdeep, can I add to what Rahul was saying? Point number 3, which I think is actually point number 1, and that would be the role of independence. This, as per me, was a negative election, a negative vote election for the BJP. It was inko bhagana hai, na ki Congress ko lana hai. And therefore, the role of independents come in at that point of time. How well these independents are doing is practically... Rajdeep, no, it's not the figure that you see. It's how many, in terms of the anti-incumbency vote, how much are the independents taking it away?
But the BJP is actually, no, just a minute. It's, you know, in terms of vote share, the BJP is holding on to its vote share. What was our understanding was that the independents and the JJP, the third party vote share is shrinking, going to the Congress, right? What is happening at the moment? BJP is holding on to its vote share, and the Congress is not being able to take it.
It's not holding on to its vote share. The BJP has actually grown its vote share.
That's right.
See, what is happening in Haryana is massively commendable from the BJP's
Either I'm in Congress or BJP.
The BJP's vote share has gone up to 39%, up 2 from the last time. Others are at 12. They are where they were the last time, just 1 down. The JJP is down 14%. The Congress has gained 14%. From the BJP's perspective, this is a massive, massive turnaround. Kumari Shailja has been one of the key players in the Haryana elections. She's been quite upset with the way things were handled. She's speaking at this time to Mausi.
मैं आपको कहती हूँ, मुझे नहीं मालूम कौन सा चैनल क्या दिखा रहा है, क्योंकि सब अलग-अलग दिखा रहे हैं. लेकिन ये विश्वास के साथ मैं कह सकती हूँ कि कांग्रेस पार्टी प्रचंड बहुमत से, जो हम पहले दिन से कह रहे हैं, प्रचंड बहुमत से कांग्रेस पार्टी सरकार बनाएगी. बाय द एंड ऑफ द डे, बाय द एंड ऑफ ऑल द राउंड्स, आप देख लेंगे, ये सामने आ जाएगी बात.
एकाएक देखते हैं कि 10 बजे ट्रेंड अगर बदलता है तो वही मेंटेन रहता है शाम दोपहर तक. तो बीजेपी एकदम से सन्नाटा पसरा हुआ था बीजेपी हेडक्वार्टर्स में. कल जब हम आपसे बात कर रहे थे तो आपने कहा था कि 60+ कांग्रेस आ रही है. अभी भी आप कायम है इस बात?
जी जी, बिल्कुल कायम हो, और आप देखेंगे अभी चल रहा है. ऐसा नहीं होता है, ऐसा नहीं होता है. अगर बीजेपी में सन्नाटा था तो उन्हें कुछ इन्फॉर्मेशन तो मिली होगी ना अपने बारे में.
और क्या आपको लगता है वजह है, ये एंटी इनकम्बेंसी है या प्रो कांग्रेस वोट भी है?
बहुत. देखो, हमेशा दोनों है. एक भारी एंटी इनकम्बेंसी भी है और भारी रुझान कांग्रेस की ओर है. उम्मीद का है, जो कांग्रेस ने काम किया है, राहुल जी ने एक माहौल क्रिएट किया है, ये सब उसका नतीजा भी आप देख रहे हैं.
और कौन होगा सीएम, इस पे लगातार सवाल बना हुआ है.
Isn't it too early? अभी देखो, ये तो चल रही है बातें कई दिन से.
46, चित्रा बता रही है बीजेपी 46 पर जा पहुंची है और कांग्रेस 38 पे है.
कोई बात नहीं, आप चिंता ना करिए, इतनी चिंता मत करिए. कांग्रेस प्रचंड बहुमत से 60+ से सरकार बनाएगी.
आपको लगता है पलटेगा भी मामला?
पलट नहीं रहा, ये डेवलप हो रहा है. पलटने की कोई बात नहीं है, ये तो राउंड चलते हैं.
और सीएम की दावेदारी पर कायम है आप अभी?
क्यों नहीं?
और क्या आपके स्ट्रॉन्ग पॉइंट्स आपको?
नहीं, अभी लेट्स जस्ट अभी इसी चीज पर चलते हैं. और एक बार रिजल्ट आने दो, फिर और बातें भी करेंगे।
हुड्डा साहब ना टायर्ड है ना रिटायर्ड।
ठीक है, नो वन इन कांग्रेस शुड बी टायर्ड।
शुक्रिया हमसे बात करने के लिए। शैलजा कुमारी यहाँ पे अंजना चित्रा एक्सक्लूसिव बातचीत में हमारे साथ कहती हैं अभी रुझान पलटेंगे, मामला जो है कांग्रेस के पक्ष में ही जाए।
You are seeing at the moment, as Kumari Shelja expresses confidence, is one of the most remarkable turnarounds that I have seen in the last 1 hour in any state election. A party written off completely just an hour ago with all our analysis about wave, Andhi, tsunami is turning out to be a cliffhanger. Kaate ki takkar is the only way now to describe what is happening in Haryana. Let the pollsters say what they want. This is at the moment now going to be an election that could go down to the wire, Rahul. It could be a matter of 5 or 7 or 10 seats if these numbers hold, of course. Still early trends. 90 minutes, I think, of the most fascinating election lie ahead.
I spoke to a senior Congress leader. He says Haryana is a small state. There is a 4% plus gap between the BJP and the Congress
3%.
when it comes to vote share. No, there's also CPM 0.5.
Okay.
So he says you do any kind of simulation. In that simulation, the Congress will come out.
That is bizarre logic.
That is their logic.
Absolutely third-class bizarre logic. I'm telling you why.
Okay, why?
If you see JJP's concentration in 2019, and this is the discussion we were having in the studios, JJP was concentrated in the Hisar-Sirsa belt. Only that sort of vote section moved into the Congress. The distribution of the vote share of NT-BJP did not change much. So if they can actually secure with a 37%, 40 seats, now with a 39% vote share, they can go up to 40, 45, 46 seats
It's a
easily.
very difficult
It's
thing
a
to
proposition.
predict by vote
I think
share.
the
Don't
Congress
go by vote share.
You see, also the Congress is going by historical belief that the BJP, where it wins in Haryana, wins big.
That's
and therefore,
wrong.
even with a
That's
lower
patently
vote
wrong.
share, they may not win the same number of seats because they win big. However, an election can be very different. And as Preeti is pointing out in Jharkhand, if in Jharkhand you actually have the Congress trailing, then you have an election which could go right down to the wire. The numbers are the...
Then Rajdeep, because what is the Jharkhand saying right now? BJP leading at 11, Congress at 6. Then the Bharatiya Janata Party has fought a very astute election because a lot of the independents in the fray, especially in the Jat region or across Haryana, have been put forth by the BJP. When you even go and speak to them, they tell you that on air. And they say it. And all of them have been fielded by the BJP. They are slowly chipping away that anti-incumbency vote of the Congress.
One of the Jat leaders used to say that, when the Tau sits on his cart, and if that cart is provided by an independent, he'll have a small sway in that specific village also.
It's a very, in Haryana, it's very candidate specific.
Right,
it
exactly.
is jiski mooch, uski pooch. Now that could be any party.
Smaller
now
parties
I
and
think,
independents doing well in Jharkhand.
All the old sort of logic of Haryana politics is being turned on its head. Kurukshetra, a region where BJP would have expected to win, Congress is leading. Ahirwal, where the BJP was expected to win, the BJP leading. The real turnaround is taking place in the Jat areas where, as I said, Jat consolidation or the fear of a Jat leadership could be resulting in the other communities coming together. Now, will that hold? Will decide this election.
But Rajdeep, let me tell you this. With a lower vote share of the BJP can still result in higher number of seats in the state of Haryana.
Absolutely.
It is quite likely that Congress has higher vote share and still loses the election.
But the argument against that is that holds true when there is a very strong third player like there was in the case of the JJP or the INLD previously. It is possible, but it is tougher to achieve with smaller, disparate independents.
It's about distribution of the vote share.
Sure, but it's tougher to achieve. If there's a strong third party, it's easier to achieve than with smaller...
Rahul, can we see the Jharkhand seats and the marginal seats
that's what I wanted to show. So if I look at the seats which are called the Jharkhand seats of Haryana, 17 such seats. Interestingly, the BJP currently leads on 11 of those, which is up 8 from the last time. The Congress is leading currently only on 6, which is down 6 from the last time. These are seats in the area called Jharkhand. Let's now look at Kurukshetra. In Kurukshetra, the Congress is currently leading on 14, up 5 from the last time. The BJP leading on 11, down 3 from the last time. In the Ahirwal belt, close to Delhi, bordering Gurgaon, you've got the BJP leading on 19, the Congress on 8. The Congress is up 1 from the last time. The BJP is up 2. In the Bagad area of Haryana, on these 18 seats, you've got the Congress leading on 10, the BJP on 5. If I look at the seats which are currently being very closely fought, 21 seats where the gap between the winner and the runner-up, the party in the lead and the runner-up is less than 500. 11 of those for the Congress, 9 of those for the BJP. If you look at seats where the margin is less than 1,000, 15 leads for the Congress, Rajdeep, 16 for the BJP.
Rahul, can I ask you to cut across to the caste dynamic, and that's where the detail also lies in this. The SC areas, that is the Dalit vote, is being swept by the Congress. And it's strangely the Jat hold where the BJP is doing well. Just take a look.
Okay,
at
so let's
Actually, this,
let's
Rahul,
take our
this
viewers through the
17
Gujar
may not
seats
be
of
Jharkhand, because we
Haryana.
have
Out
to
of the
see
5
those
Gujar
37
seats, the BJP is leading on all 5 Gujar seats of Haryana. In the seats which are classified as Dalit, Dalit Bahul, which is basically that, Dalit dominated seats, 30 such seats, not just reserved, but Dalit dominated. The Congress is leading on 20, up 11 from the last time. The BJP on 9, down 1 from the last time. In the Muslim dominated seats, 6 such seats, the Congress leading on 4, up 1 from the last time, the BJP on 2. In the Brahmin dominated seats, 2 such seats, the Congress leading on both those seats. In the Jat dominated seats, it's very interesting to note that the BJP is up 6 from the last time. The Congress is at 16. It's the JJP which is at 0. So the JJP's setbacks, the setbacks to the JJP have got split between the Congress and the BJP. They haven't gone to the Congress's fold. Ajay Alok joins us. Dr. Ajay Kumar joins us from the Congress and Ajay Alok from the BJP. Dr. Ajay Kumar, I come to you first. 50 plus for the NC and the Congress in Kashmir and Jammu. That election seems settled. You were hoping for a big victory in Haryana. Far from, it's turning out to be a T20 style cliffhanger.
Look, I was sincerely hoping that you would have called me an hour and a half back, because it seemed to be an outstanding trend at that time. Look, it's still early for sure. Jammu and Kashmir is a very reassuring trend. So that's I won't discuss that on too much. On Haryana, right now it's surprising for the fact is that though I see that a lot of seats which are coming in are 500 and 1,000 margins from both sides. So I think the more clearer picture will come in an hour's time when those numbers will be much more clearer. I strongly believe that we should be close to 50, close to the 50 number. And the second thing which confuses me a lot, Rahul, is the different channels. Now, by and large, the channels are showing different, the numbers vary between 10 to 12. So early days, but yes, to give credit to the Bharatiya Janata Party that they seem to have done better than what they were doing. And I'm just going to wait for some more time. I was listening to yours, Rajdeep, and Preeti's analysis.
Celebrate. No, but the fact is, did the Congress celebrate prematurely in Haryana? Because clearly the Congress seemed to believe that this was a done deal. It was only talk of 50, 60, 70. Now you've got a situation where you're even going to struggle to reach 45. And the fact is, many of these others could well be BJP rebels. So the BJP, even at 40, could form a government. Remember, INLD also has 3 at the moment. They could also join hands with the BJP. You need 45. The BJP perhaps only needs 40.
So I saw a couple of independence names. So those are even Steven. I think Chitta Swara is leading in one of those seats. And so it's very difficult for me to predict what the independents are going to do. That won't be fair. But I sincerely believe that some of these trends, I saw Cattle seat, they were trailing by 400, then they're trailing by 1,000. So it is a, but by simple logic, Rajdeep, if it's a 42%, 42%, 43% vote share, those 4% vote share should have a significant impact in terms of seats. Unless the seats which you are winning, we are winning with huge margins. One second.
But Dr. Ajay Kumar, the fact is, this was supposed to be an election that was the Congress's election. Now, what went wrong? One of the biggest factors, many would suggest, was infighting. Look at the political landscape right now. Where the Congress is actually doing well is the SC vote, the Dalit vote. The Heartland, where apparently was supposed to be a Hooda wave, where the Hoodas were to be strong in, the Jatland, there at least as of now, the Congress is doing way lesser than what was expected. Could that dynamics between a Kumari Shailja, a Bhupinder Hooda been sorted out? Because that war played out very uglily out in the open.
Look, again, very early, very difficult for me to sit on a TV channel and analyze based on what you guys are saying. I understand what the fact is that we should be doing much better on those Jat-dominated seats for sure. Doing very well in SC seats is also an indication of what's happening in terms of the vote base and all. So that's a fact of life. I mean, I don't know how the trends are, but the important part is, I think there are 13 or 14 rounds still left for us to count. The margins in the seats are even distributed evenly between the two parties. 500 to 1,000, what Rahul was saying it. My little piece of, as a student of politics, is that if you're at 42%, or 42%, 43%, those numbers, unless you're winning greatly in all those seats, some seats you win a lot of percentage of votes, and just indulge me for a second. In case you get huge leads in all the seats, then those 42% may be skewed. I mean, you might get lesser vote percentage and still win. But if
But no, but
The
the
big story at this time, though, is that the Congress is now down to 34 leads. The BJP is at 48. I want to go across to, Ajay, who's joining us at this time. This is very good news from the BJP's perspective. If after 10 years and all the anti-incumbency and everything else that Rajdeep and Preeti said about the BJP's performance in the last 10 years, the BJP ends up in front or puts up this kind of a fight, it leaves the Congress with a lot of humble pie to eat.
You also said it. Now suddenly turning around and
I'm
saying
not saying
Rajdeep
anything.
and
I'm just
Preeti
saying
said
that
it.
let's take a look at what Ajay Alok is saying. Ajay.
Well, I was with you guys 2 days back on the days of the exit poll, and I said, what a wishful thinking. I guess this trend shows the beginning of the end of those wishful thinking you had on that 6th of October. Let's see, let's finalize the result. But this trend itself stamps the signature of development, peace and prosperity, and the kind of faith the people have in the governance of the BJP. It just marks the signature of the people's verdict. If the verdict is like this, it's being reflected in the ongoing trends, then it marks the verdict of the people in anti-mood of, the Huda Congress, the so-called family politics, the so-called the politics of corruption and everything to sum up. But I'd like to wait for another 1 or 2 hours so that this should crystallize.
But it also shows the advantages of tactical management. It's not just the big picture. Yeah, it's not just the big picture. It's also a lot of management on the ground, which is what seems to have brought the Congress at this moment down to 34 leads and the BJP at 48. If this is the way it ends, then the Congress was Hawa mein and the BJP was Zameen par.
See, Rahul, the gross difference between Congress and the BJP is that the BJP Karyakartas are always on the ground, whether election or no election. Whether on the broken street or on the running highway. The BJP Karyakartas are always on the ground, looking for how to improve things till the last moment. We give it everything. I still don't want to comment further. I like to wait for another hour. But one thing for sure, the wishful thinking is beginning to end. Right, Rajdeep?
No, I think it's not just that. If these numbers hold the pollsters who already suffered a blow, the strategists
I would like
who
them to
suffered a
dance on
blow.
your floor. According to the agreement of clause 37B or something, what Rahul was saying, he must dance on the floor.
No, the fact is, all pollsters, all strategists, all reporters who went on the ground said that the BJP
Can we
was losing
listen to
this
Bhupender
election.
Hooda? Just 1 second. Bhupender Hooda.
What is your response on this election?
जो रुझान आ रहे हैं उसके अनुसार कांग्रेस की सरकार बनने जा रही है।
बीजेपी की तरफ नजर आ रहा है।
नहीं वो तो अभी 2 राउंड 3 राउंड हुए हैं। वो जितने रिपोर्ट जाती है उतने सारा जो खबर आई है कांग्रेस की बहुमत आ रही है।
10 साल के बाद क्या कांग्रेस पार्टी उत्तर भारत में वापसी कर रही है? 10 साल के बाद?
हाँ,
10 साल के बाद क्या
कांग्रेस की सरकार बनने जा रही है।
जो ट्रेंड सर चल रहे हैं उसमें बीजेपी खेमे से कहा जा रहा है कि बढ़त बनाएंगे।
कहीं नहीं बढ़त बनेगी। आप देखना नतीजा है कांग्रेस का जो ट्रेंड आ रहा है वहाँ कांग्रेस का ज्यादा बहुमत आ रहा है।
हजारों लोग नारा लगा रहे हैं भूपेंद्र सिंह हुड्डा जिंदाबाद मुख्यमंत्री के तौर पर आपको देखना चाहते हैं।
ये पार्टी फैसला करती है।
हुड्डा साहब बीजेपी के बड़े लीडर जो पिछड़ते हुए नजर आ रहे हैं, बीजेपी के बड़े लीडर पिछड़ते हुए नजर आ रहे हैं।
कांग्रेस की सरकार बनने जा रही है भाई।
सर आपको किसी अलायंस की जरूरत पड़ेगी या कांग्रेस एबल टू
यानी कांग्रेस अपनी मेजोरिटी लाएगी।
सर फुल फ्लैग मेजॉरिटी वाली कांग्रेस की सरकार बनेगी, पूरी उम्मीद है आपको?
हाँ कह तो जगह कितनी बार कह रहा
सर क्रेडिट गोज टू राहुल गांधी एंड भूपेंद्र सिंह हुड्डा जी ओनली।
क्रेडिट गोज टू पार्टी, राहुल गांधी जी, मल्लिका खड़गे जी, प्रियंका जी, and all leaders of the Congress.
So what's your
And real credit goes to the people of Haryana.
सर रुझानों में काफी
what will be your priority sir after the fall government? What will be your priority?
How many questions will you ask? You ask one question. There are others also.
सर काफी रुझानों में क्लोज कंटेस्ट नजर आ रहा है, ऐसा एक्सपेक्टेड था क्या?
नहीं था, जहाँ कहीं कहीं क्लोज है, कहीं कहीं है, लेकिन कांग्रेस इज गेटिंग मेजोरिटी।
सर आपके लिए नतीजे आने वाले हैं, जो नतीजे अभी दिख रहे हैं?
नतीजे मेरे को मालूम है, कांग्रेस की सरकार बनने जा रही है। अरे नहीं नहीं जलेबी खा सबने। ठीक है सर, बंदे हो गया बेटा, अभी ऐसे ऐसे जो तुम देर बैठे हो।
And mannerisms are anything to go by, Rahul Verma.
think so.
That looks like somebody who knows that this morning hasn't gone the way they would have wanted. 34 versus 48, Bhupinder Singh Hooda, hawa udi hai wahi.
Yeah, he didn't look like a man who's a winner. He didn't look like a winner at the moment.
Absolutely. And I think with this kind of trend, now it would be hard for Congress to get a simple majority.
And also remember the others include a few BJP rebels, the likes of Savitri
No,
Jindal.
in this,
So,
it's not
you know,
even
the
just the
BJP is actually with those rebels around 50.
But Rajdeep, it's not even the others, because right now, not that the BJP needs others, but look at the three INLD. They will immediately go to the BJP. In the others, you have a Gopal Kanda, you have a Savitri Jindal, then from Punri, then from Guhana, the ones who are leading, all of them are candidates put forth by the Bharatiya Janata Party. They're all going to go to the BJP.
But remember, the BJP is currently, the Congress is banking on a higher vote share. They have higher vote share. But Rahul Verma, try and explain why that means very little, because you can have higher vote share dispersed across the state, whereas the BJP with a lower vote share concentrated on key seats still ensures that they potentially end up with a higher tally.
There are many such states with examples where BJP gets lower vote share but gets higher seat share. Karnataka is a classic case because in southern Karnataka,
Rajasthan
BJP,
as well.
Rajasthan also. So there are many such places where even lower vote share can result in a higher seat tally. And this is what seemed to be happening. Perhaps there is a region in Haryana where BJP is not getting both votes and seats, but there are other regions where even a smaller sort of like vote share is leading them to get seats.
You know, I think what is very clear in the regions is that you're seeing, for example, the Ahirwal belt. More than 60% live here in urban areas. Complete domination by the BJP. The BJP is sweeping areas from Gurugram, stretching all the way across the Mewat region. So that's the big 20-7 at the moment to the BJP. You look at Kurukshetra, and here the Congress is ahead, 14-11. This was an area where last time the BJP was ahead. But the story of this election at the moment is in Jatland, where possibly whether the role of the independents who took away the Congress vote or just a counter polarization 10-5. This will decide, I think, what happens in the end. In Bagar, on the other hand, it's close whether Congress is leading 10-5.
How do you explain counter polarization, Rajdeep, where on certain seats in the Jatland, the Jat majority in places over 70%?
Sure.
So you cannot explain counter polarization. This is the area where the plan of the BJP of fielding enough strong independent Jat candidates has worked.
Yeah, we'll have to see whether that actually holds. Remember, as of now, that is the explanation, Preeti, whether either it's counter consolidation of a kind wherein there has been chappat phadke voting of non-Jat castes on one side. That has also happened, or the Jat vote has also got splintered with independents.
Vinesh Phogat is currently leading with just 345 votes in Julana on the Congress ticket. Shruti Chaudhary of the BJP is currently leading in Tosham. Savitri Jindal, Naveen Jindal's mother, currently leading as an independent candidate in Hisar. Abhay Chautala currently leading in Elanabad. Aditya Surjewala, Randeep Surjewala's son, is currently trailing in Kaithal. Anil Vij is trailing at this moment in Ambala Kant. Bhavya Bishnoi, Kuldeep Bishnoi's son in Adampur on a BJP ticket is trailing. Chandar Mohan in Panchkula is leading on a Congress ticket. You've got Dushyant Chautala currently trailing on a JJP ticket in Uchana Kalan. Gopal Khanda trails in Sirsa. Chiranjeev Rao in Rewadi on a Congress ticket is trailing. Nayab Singh Saini in Ladwa is leading. Digvijay Singh Chautala in Dabwali on a JJP ticket is currently trailing. So those are, it's Jammu Kashmir that is looking settled, and it is Haryana where now the Congress is up at 37, the BJP from 48 at 45. So it's Haryana that will keep us in this race, in this game. And who said anything about elections being boring or predictable or one-sided? This is as close, Rajdeep, as close can be.
The only thing the Congress is holding on to, a Congress leader pointed out to me just now, is see our vote share. And his claim is, with this vote share, Jatland will turn, is what his hope is. But I think he's clutching at hope. It is, of course, 8 seats, so it requires a 4-seat swing, which is not much given the number of marginal seats.
But remember, even if it is 42-44, it's advantage BJP.
I think the BJP forms a government at 40. Let's be clear. BJP forms a government at 40. The Congress will need 44 minimum, if not 45. So I think that's the other advantage that the BJP has over the Congress. But this election is those seats of the Jat areas, the 37 seats of Jat majority. If the Congress cannot get a majority of those seats, I think the BJP has the advantage, because in Ahirwal, it's very clear those are strong leads now for the BJP. So the BJP has some very strong leads that are consolidating at the moment.
Consider Nayab Singh Saini. I mean, what an awesome day that he's been having.
Oh,
I mean, he was pitted up against all odds that he would never come back, and he's barely seen chair properly. He has never enjoyed the comforts of being the chief minister, perhaps. And there you see fortunes turn in minutes. And
if this is what the numbers hold, then this is a victory for Nayab Singh Saini.
Oh, huge victory.
This has happened under the banner of Nayab Singh Saini, where Haryana is concerned, and Rajdeep.
And also give credit to Amit Shah and Narendra Modi.
Yes.
Amit Shah in particular. Amit Shah is the one who played this politics of ensuring lots of candidates, put in the independents, split the anti-incumbency vote. If these numbers hold, you know, after the Lok Sabha setback of sorts, this is a huge victory, and then all our calculations of who has the momentum going into Maharashtra and Jharkhand.
Also on Bhupinder Singh Hooda's leadership, where Haryana is concerned.
Huge question.
As far as narratives go, it really busts the Congress's myth and bubble that they were back, that Maharashtra and Jharkhand are a done deal. If after 10 years of anti-incumbency and all the problems the BJP faced in Haryana, they can pull it off against the Congress, then they'll think Maharashtra, here we come, Jharkhand, here we come. So the narrative changes very, very dramatically. Guru Prakash Paswan, national spokesperson of the BJP, joins us. The Congress was celebrating Deepavali early in the morning. There were crackers and there were doles. It seems it's the BJP's turn to celebrate now in Haryana.
No, certainly, Rahul. And like you said, it is going to be a massive confidence booster for our Karyakartas in upcoming Maharashtra and Jharkhand polls, which is my adjoining state. So whatever happened in the morning and what's happening now, it's a massive, massive transformation. And the credit goes to our Karyakartas, our state leadership, our senior leadership, Mr. Dharmendra Pradhan, who is our election in charge in the state of Haryana. So I think it's a big, big, big confidence booster for all of us, for the Bharatiya Janata Party cadres. And it also reflects, Rahul, in a sense, the lack of imagination in the Congress camp. The entire election, we saw the tussle between Kumari Shelja, Bhupinder Singh Hooda, and on the one hand, we see people of Haryana reposing their faith once again in the leadership of the Bharatiya Janata Party. And I think, if you can correct me if I'm wrong, that it's happening for the first time that a government is going to be repeated in Haryana after 10 years of service. You see, this is what the problem with the Congress party, the focus on one family, the focus on one caste, the focus on one community, whereas the Bharatiya Janata Party, strategically, the Bharatiya Janata Party, as per following the vision, we worked for all the communities. There were leadership, there were representation, there were welfare mechanism covering every single community. So I think with the Election Commission of India website showing a 10-seat lead, it's open in front of me, it's a clear-cut win, it's a clear-cut people's faith in the leadership, in the politics and the policies of the Bharatiya Janata Party, and we look forward to it.
You know, there were lots of people who came, Guru Prakash Paswan earlier, saying that this is a blow to brand Modi, that this is the end, and it cements the decline of brand Modi with the BJP at 46 and the Congress at 36. You know, all those prognoses will need to be tossed out of the window.
No, Rahul, yesterday you and Rajdeep tweeted about how Prime Minister Modi, as Chief Minister and as Prime Minister, has completed 23 years in office. And I think that is something phenomenal. You can disagree with him, you can have different point of views, but as a person who has led from the front as the Chief Minister of Gujarat first and as the Prime Minister of India, 23 years as a head of state, respectively in Gujarat and nationally, that speaks a lot. In a vibrant and an active democracy like India, a person who has sustained, a person who has survived, and a person who still inspires. That means a lot. And I think we are thankful, we are fortunate, we are privileged to have such a great leadership who can lead from the front, come what may. Haryana, every one of you, every single survey, every single exit poll suggested that it is going to be a tough day for all of us today. But 46-36, and it is constantly fluctuating. We see a comfortable, clear majority.
No, but did the BJP expect?
And like I said,
you know, is this beyond your expectation as well? Because in the morning we thought the BJP, you know, the crackers were being burst in the Congress office and the BJP was staying quiet. Is this something that you all expected, or has this surprised you as well?
No. Rajdeep ji, you are a senior journalist. कोई भी election हो, be it a panchayat poll, a parliament poll, a Vidhan Sabha poll, we fight each and every election with a lot of passion, with a lot of enthusiasm. For us, any election is a matter of pride. For our Karyakartas, every single election, you could see that we are ongoing with our Sadasyata Abhiyan, which is a massive membership campaign. But regardless of that, every election is of equal significance. Every election we consider of consequence in the Bharatiya Janata Party, and we gave our best. We gave all there were Karyakartas from across the country who went to Haryana. We have Pravasi Karyakarta meetings which were happening. We have specific community outreach. We have people who articulated the vision, the development, the infrastructure of the Haryana under the BJP and before the BJP. So I think it's a cumulative effort. It's a cumulative effect of all the Karyakartas who were dedicated for the last 2 months in Haryana, Rajdeep ji. And for us, it was not a matter of surprise at all.
You know, Haryana has to be the most confounding state for pollsters. Rahul Verma, in 2019, soon after India witnessed the peak of the Modi wave when they ended up with 303 seats, the BJP lost 21% vote share in the assembly elections that followed soon after. Here, where the BJP came down from 303 to 240, after that, the BJP's vote share in Haryana has actually gone up. So you're like, oh my God, what are these Haryanvis doing in terms of how they're going out and expressing their franchise?
So I think it, again, I don't want to harp on the bipolarity logic, but what seems to be happening is that third party and smaller players are getting squeezed. And in that sense, even Congress is gaining, right? So both Congress and BJP are gaining, which means that smaller parties and independents are getting squeezed. Congress is gaining largely the Jat votes of JJP, and BJP is gaining the non-Jat votes of the smaller parties. This is what is leading to basically parties gaining votes, but seat distribution.
You know, now I've got a Congress leader again clutching at straws, saying that there are only that the rounds that are done are largely of urban votes. You're not catching the rural votes. The rural votes will come and then the thing will swing. I think they're clutching at straws at the moment. I think there is a Congress strategist who has admitted we will be close to a majority. Now here is someone who told me that we will be 2/3. He's now talking of close to a majority.
But Rajdeep, I want to ask Amitabh ji, because if you now look at what the result was in Lok Sabha 2024, this actually mirrors that.
Somewhat.
This actually mirrors that. Well. Exactly what the Lok Sabha election
is doing well.
BJP is doing better.
And others are gaining at the expense of Congress, if you compare to the Lok Sabha results. But on the Election Commission website, if you see, across seats, only 2 to 3 rounds have been counted.
No, but also
only 2 to 3 rounds.
Also look at the fact that there are now only 5 seats.
16 to 18.
Only 5 seats where the margin is less than 500 votes. So the election's also opening up. It's not as tight
How
as
many
it was.
below 1,000 rounds?
So 5 seats
13
where
seats
the
below
margin
1,000.
is less than 500 votes.
On the Election
Congress is
Commission
leading on 2. The BJP is leading on 3. If I look at the number of seats where the margin is less than 1,000, it's only 16 seats. So this election is opening up. It's settling down. Congress leading on 8, the BJP leading on 8. What an even distribution reflects is that the chance of this now getting skewed in either direction is reducing. So if this is the trend that appears, I'll take you through to the seats where the margin is less than 3,000. There are 50 such seats. The BJP leading on 28, the Congress on 19. But more consequential would be the seats where the margin is less than 1,000 votes, where it seems to be very evenly distributed. Rahul Verma, try and put this in a statistical framework for us. If the distribution is even 8 versus 9, it would suggest that now if you're expecting for a massive reversal, it may inch closer, but a massive reversal is most likely quite unlikely now.
Yes, and the reason is because the marginal seats are equally sort of distributed. If it was in one way, then you could see that this party losing seats is going to the other way. But given that there is an equal distribution, I think even when we have just 2 to 3 rounds counted, this is a good signal where the election is heading. The reversal is possible, but the chances of that happening is now lower.
Unless, of course, the counting is such that there are wild variations in the rounds, which typically doesn't happen.
Just a point. In Lok Sabha, this is almost mirroring Lok Sabha. Lok Sabha, if you see, 44 seats were led by the BJP, 42 by the Congress, right? You're virtually ending up in a similar situation as the Lok Sabha. So whatever happened, I mean, the one who will be celebrating as a moment, looking at this is my friend Gopal Kanda. Now again I say friend, you'll say my friend. But these are people who I have sort of interviewed over the years. I call them friends.
Why not your friend Abhay Chautala?
Abhay Chautala, all of them, the 2 seats of INLD, because even at 42, the independents get into play. You're looking, the Congress needs a 6 to 7 seat shift. Not easy at the moment, not impossible.
The Congress needs at least 44, Rajdeep.
The Congress, so that's why I said a 6 to 7 seats shift.
Dushyant Chautala in Uchana Kala is coming 6th. At this time, he's coming 6th.
So the INLD is doing better than the JJP. INLD is doing better than the JJP in their Sirsa belt. They're doing better. But, JJP is getting wiped out. But the wipeout of the JJP is not benefiting the Congress necessarily. Because in those areas, it is the BJP.
Because Rajdeep, it comes back to the same question. This was possibly an anti-incumbency vote election, not a pro-Congress election.
Right.
And what has happened is that every other player, be it the small independents, they have chipped away slowly at the anti-incumbent.
And I think there needs to be a Dalit analysis also to be done, because Congress is very heavily banking that all the Dalits are now gravitating towards the Congress, and this is a big sort of a central theme that Rahul Gandhi is running with.
No, but
in Haryana,
if I look at the 30
okay, Bhupinder Singh Hooda is leading by a big margin now, 17,000 votes. So he's leading in Gadi Sampla where he was trailing.
If you look at the 30 Dalit-dominated seats, not just the reserved seats, but the Dalit-dominated seats of Haryana, the Congress is leading on 19 of those, up 10 from the last time. The BJP is leading on 11 of those, up 1 from the last time. The problem for the Congress seems to be in the Jat-dominated seats. Seats which they were taking almost for granted ki ye to hamare hi hain. There, in the 36 Jat-dominated, and by dominated I mean that the community is in the position to be able to influence the end outcome with 20% and more representation. There, the BJP is leading on 19 such seats, up 7 from the last time. The Congress is leading on 15 such seats, up 2 from the last time. This is where the election in Haryana seems to have turned. Amitabh Tiwari, the Congress was taking these seats for granted.
In Lok Sabha elections, Congress was leading on 27 of these seats.
The
and BJP only on 10. Correct. So they had swept the Jat land. So most of the seats which Congress was leading on in Lok Sabha, 27 out of 42 were coming from the Jat land. And here perhaps the smaller parties, independent, 17, 18.
The spoiler in the Jat land is exactly that.
The smaller parties are probably spoiling the chances of Congress in the Jat land. Whereas the JJP's vote is shifting towards the Congress, but that is predominantly only in one region, which is Hisar. Otherwise, in other regions,
I'll show you the new power map of Haryana, looking very different from the way that it did at 9 a.m. Now, if you see Haryana, southern Haryana, eastern Haryana, very strongly saffron. It's northern Haryana, which is looking blue. And that's how things have changed. The greens have come down. The greens have shrunk. The JJP, which had 10, now at 0. The INLD is at 2. But in central Haryana, there's a very strong saffron surge which can be seen. If you look at the vote shares for Haryana, here again, the battle is very, very tight. The Congress had 28% vote share last time, this time 41. The BJP had 37% vote share, this time 39, up 2. So this election has turned, and this is to the BJP's huge credit, Rajat. even you weren't willing to think that the BJP might win in Haryana, but I remember going to Parliament, sitting with Dharmendra Pradhan and Biplab Deb, and they said, boss, aap logon ko kuch nahi aata, aapko kuch nahi pata, dekh lena hum jeetenge. And I thought, naturally, as Prabhari of the state, what else is the guy going to say? He's going to say he's going to win. But if this is how they've pulled off, then hats off to Dharmendra Pradhan and to Biplab Deb and to Amit Shah for having pulled off one of the most remarkable victories. 10 years of anti-incumbency, 2 terms of being in power, and yet being able to best the Congress is a very big victory,
Rahul, first time that any government has consecutively come to power the third time round. If it happens.
This will go down in history books, this election, as a classic case study on how vote share distribution matters more than vote share alone. How, very silent reverse consolidation happens, not typically captured by the more vocal voters of a constituency, where there are silent voters quietly coming in and voting. Also keep in mind that the vote share, the polling percentage was lower. It was just 68%, lower than, historical trends in Haryana, which also indicates that Congress was maybe not able to, unleash the kind of voter fury which would have reflected in a much higher polling percentages. BJP ensured that the temperatures on the ground remain more calmer, not as heated up as the Congress would have anticipated. And I think it's a classic case of slip between cup and the lip for the Congress party. They started rejoicing of a potential victory way too early, the way they did in Chhattisgarh, and I think they have to be humble.
You mentioned Chhattisgarh, which is perhaps the closest to what is happening now, because there again the Congress was celebrating almost as if it had won the election, and they just needed to come and contest, and the election was done. The micromanagement of the BJP, if these elections hold, the ability to be able to go constituency by constituency, region by region, versus the Congress which sort of put all its eggs in Hooda's basket. This could be the end of, if these numbers hold.
It will be end of his career.
It will be the end of Bhupinder Singh Hooda's career, because this was the last election in a way at 77.
It will be reconsolidation of the Congress in Haryana if these results hold.
No, the Congress, forget about reconsolidation. It will push the Congress several steps back, because
you will need to think of a new formula. Number one, where the Congress is concerned, if these numbers hold. The likes of Kumari Shelja, who you remove, because, if you look at the Dalit vote, it's still supporting the Congress right now, at least with these figures.
No, and the role of paroles.
Rajdeep Singh Surjewala's son is trailing at the moment in Kaithal.
And remember, Rajdeep, the role of paroles in elections. Baba Ram Rahim getting parole at the right time, sending out a message to vote for the BJP in a tight election. Every vote matters, and when the gap is only 2%, every Baba on parole is useful.
Yeah, that's not a great thing for any party to do, to have someone. But I think at the end of the day, the BJP has done Sam Dam, done bhed, you could argue in that sense. But the fact is that they saw opportunity when nobody else did. Pollsters didn't, reporters didn't, strategy. I have yet to meet one person who told me BJP is winning. People said BJP, I'm trying to think. Somebody, who covers the BJP said, no, BJP leader also yesterday said they're winning. They said they're in the fight. But nobody said they're winning, and everyone uniformly...
But this is the second time this has happened. Remember, this happened last in Chhattisgarh, where against the whole Congress ecosystem was 100% certain कि Chhattisgarh तो जीत ही रहे, Madhya Pradesh क्या पता जीत जाए, Rajasthan is tough.
Exactly.
In exactly the same fashion, whether it's the overconfidence or the hubris, has put them under stress, where the BJP seems on the verge of pulling off a remarkable victory, Rajdeep.
And the flip of it is Jammu and Kashmir, which we thought will be very tight, we'll see the NC Congress has reason to smile, but that's, for the Congress party in particular, this will be a bad day in the office, terrible day, going ahead to Maharashtra and Jharkhand. For the BJP, which 5 months ago felt that, they didn't get the 300 plus that they wanted, this will be seen as a huge sign that the BJP is back in business and very strong in the stakes.
The wife of one of the top union ministers, we were just chatting with her, and she said, in politics, in 1 hour, things can change. Between 9 a.m. on the 4th of June and 10 a.m., things change, and the whole narrative, she says, changed. It's the same for Haryana. Now, what happens in Haryana will have a consequence in Maharashtra and Jharkhand. In a matter of an hour and a half, the whole narrative has changed. If the Congress can't win Haryana against the BJP in the kind of condition the BJP was in, then Maharashtra is game on from the BJP's perspective.
Rajdeep, with what you say. But this is actually strangely coming in from a BJP leader in Haryana, because I was, I told him that he's doing really well. He's saying, abhi ruk jaiye, sirf 20,000 vote count hue hain, 1,40,000 mein se. This is coming in from a BJP guy.
Look, that being said, what is very clear is what was all the
trend is
pollsters,
there.
you know, the trend of a one-sided election is a kaate ki takkar. Whether it goes now one way or the other, whether 5 seats swing, the two end up around the 40s, both, all of that aside. The truth of the matter is the BJP has done a solid comeback in Haryana. I use the word comeback because they were written off.
Yeah.
So a party which is written off is making a solid comeback. So whether the numbers are much closer eventually will depend.
But why is the counting so slow? Usually by this time...
Yeah, why are you Haryanvis so slow counters? I thought you guys moved quickly.
It's all on machines right now. We're not sitting and counting.
Is there a way to sort of like now do a reverse thing in Haryana, which is rather than looking at marginal seats, can you look at seats where parties are leading? Because that will give you a picture of what percentage of seats are getting
That's
clearer.
a very important point that Rahul Verma makes. Let's take a look at the seats which now seem quite settled, and I'll pick seats where the gap is more than 10,000. If the gap is more than 10,000, to my mind, now that seat turning is very difficult. At this moment, there are 83 seats out of 90 where the gap is more than 10,000.
Less than 10,000. No, sorry, Rahul, this is less than 10,000.
Let's look at the seats where the gap is more than
25.
25. Let's look at the gap where so there are only one seats.
Choose 5,000, Rahul. 5,000 may be fair.
No, but this is again less than 5,000.
Okay.
So less than 5,000 won't help because there's 66 seats where the gap is less than 5,000. The BJP is leading on 34. The Congress is leading on 27. So there the BJP has that advantage. But remember, the seats that can turn, frankly, are the seats where the gap is less than 1,000. If you look at the seats where the gap is less than 1,000, there are 12 such seats. And those are evenly split between the Congress and the BJP, 6 versus 6.
You see, the only question is how many rounds are done. If it is only 5 rounds out of 18 to 20...
So this is a BJP leader who's leading and he's saying... And he's not accepting any congratulations from anyone. He's saying सिर्फ 20,000 count हुई हैं, 1,40,000 है.
No, but also spend a moment thinking of the Aam Aadmi Party in Haryana. You know, so much was said, Kejriwal, Haryana ka ladka, he'll go and campaign, he didn't want to do this. Now, if this is the way it ends up, questions will be asked, Rajdeep, later about whether it would have made more sense for the AAP and the Congress to campaign together. Maybe it would have not added too much in terms of seat share, but a few extra votes. AAP hasn't got any lead at this moment. 0 is what they have at this moment. The Congress struggling at 36. If they had potentially allied, it may have made things slightly different and slightly better.
But it wasn't of the Congress. Aam Aadmi Party is choosing.
Sure, but both sides. I mean, they couldn't make it happen.
I think, you know, what we saw in Chhattisgarh, for example, the BJP putting up a lot of independents, propping up a lot of smaller parties. We saw that in Haryana. On the other hand, the Congress was so confident, Rahul, that they were going to win this election. Even when the Aam Aadmi Party wanted 5, they said, Acha, even if we give you 5, we will give you the 5 seats where you're losing. You didn't want to give them the winning seats. So you see, the Congress's biggest flaw always is ever since the Lok Sabha elections, they got 233 as an alliance, 99 to the Congress. They think they've got 272.
No,
the BJP, on the other hand, even after getting 240, is probably saying, yaar, ab chunav aur ek hai, use jeetna hai. There's still a difference in the way the BJP approaches an election to the way the Congress. All of this I'm saying, at this moment, it could still turn. There could still be 5 or 10 seats here and there. But the fact of the matter is the BJP has put up a remarkable performance in Haryana, irrespective of what happens
But the Aam
at
Aadmi Party, whatever the result is, Rajdeep, will be looking at this saying, I told you so. Because but you know, word coming in on certain seats, the Aam Aadmi Party is even polled less than Nota. You know, if you look at the fine print there, they have done quite badly in certain seats. But this will have a bearing on the Delhi elections now, Rajdeep. You cannot be overconfident, both for the Aam Aadmi Party and the Congress.
But look at the chatter that was coming in from Congress. They were counting the eggs before the, it was hatched. And look at the deliberations. Kumari Shalja's only deliberation was like, who will become a CM and who will become a deputy CM. They started like,
no, but hubris is dangerous for all parties. The BJP was convinced 400 par in the Lok Sabha elections. That proved to be their undoing. The Congress was concerned, Andhi, Tufan, Tsunami, that's all that matters, nothing else matters. Now they're ending up at 36. So hubris is very, very dangerous.
You know, also, Rahul, I think elections at the local state level are very different to Lok Sabha. You know, elections at the state level are so localized increasingly. People say, Mera candidate kaun hai? Haryana we thought was different, but even Haryana is proving that every constituency has candidates who can pull in 1,000, 2,000. I mentioned this about Maharashtra. Independents and those who don't get the tickets from the major parties are people who can pull in 5,000, 6,000 votes. So you've actually got a situation, even amidst the bipolarity, in a localized state election, You have to do micromanagement. The Congress will have to ask, did you do, you know what happened in the Congress meeting, Rahul? Virtually the entire state was outsourced to the Huddas to decide on tickets. Kumari Shelja got 5 or 6?
9.
Chalo 9, you could argue 6 or 9.
Yeah.
Randeep Surjewala got he wanted to contest himself, but they said 3, including his son. Effectively, about 70 to 72 seats were decided by Mr. Hudda. Then, because your pollsters
6
said
were
that you're
directly
winning
by
big,
Gandhis. 6 were Gandhis.
yeah, the
6
pollsters,
candidates were
so
given by
basically
Gandhis.
about 70 out of 90. Once your pollsters said you're winning, you thought, chalo yaar, put all your eggs in Hudda's basket. Now, was that wise strategy in the end? Could you have run a more collective leadership? Could you have given Kumari Shelja a greater share? All these questions will have to be asked if these numbers hold. I mean, the Congress will have wiped out all the benefits they had from their Lok Sabha performance if these numbers hold. You're going into Maharashtra with a relatively demoralized Congress if these numbers hold, and an upbeat BJP once again.
But look at Mahavikas Aghadi. It's a clear lesson for them. They are only debating on who will be the chief minister.
Exactly.
See, now, that's a wasteful debate. I mean, this is not people's concerns, people issues as to who will be the chief minister. It's like putting a united stand together and, removing the differences. Otherwise, every single thing is going to really bite them. And I think BJP has an advantage here.
What happens when we are analyzing others is that we look at the vote share and the seat share. But we have to look at the statistic, which is in how many seats others spoiled the chances of the winner or the runner-up, which is when others score more than the victory margin. In Haryana, it has always been more than 45 seats.
And that's what's happening here.
And it could also be in concentrated regions, right? And that could
वो
also...
आपको दिखता नहीं है कि भाई others को seats नहीं आई, votes नहीं आई.
No, but the other big difference...
spoiled the chances of somebody.
The other difference is that in Karnataka, Siddaramaiah and Shiv Kumar, for all their differences, would fight at night.
Absolutely
but in the morning, work towards a common purpose.
Common goal.
They were able to come together for the larger cause. In Haryana, the relationship between the Hoodas and Shelja was so bad, and even Surjewala, that they didn't even work together. They were almost looking in opposite directions and ठीक है तू अपना कर ले देख लेंगे बाद में. So they didn't work towards a common cause, and I think 36 reflects that.
Didn't even speak to each other, because I think your channel only,
Kumari
asked
Shelja
Kumari
said that.
Shelja, when did she last speak to Huda? She did not have the answer.
And that is precisely because, as I said, I think the mandate of 2024 Lok Sabha, 99 seats gave you a sense that we are 240 or we are 250. You're 99. The Congress has to realize that every election is different from the other. You have to fight them distinctively. Even in Maharashtra, I've heard Congress leaders saying, we will be the single largest party, we'll get the chief ministership. Arey, chunav bhi nahi hua hai. Chunav shuru nahi hua hai, and Congress leaders in Maharashtra are talking about chief ministership. I think in Haryana,
But that changes. That changes. If this is the result, that hubris about Congress appointing a chief minister in Maharashtra is out of the window, first survive. The reason that they did better than expected in Lok Sabha is because they weren't expecting to, and therefore they kind of, just below the radar crept over.
But it's bizarre. There is a web channel which is also tracking the election, which, Pranoy Roy has. And he, at 15 minutes ago, was giving Congress 55, BJP 29. So I don't know where these numbers are coming from
this?
on decoder, which they have. The fact is that,
if you look at ECI, I think the trend is now in favor of BJP.
The ECI trend is the clear trend. The ECI trend is showing the BJP is ahead.
No,
and I think we should go by that.
The ECI trend already is much bigger than any exit poll or post-poll study.
Even, Yashwant was, his team is tracking it there. They too are now saying the BJP is ahead. So I think the BJP is certainly in that race, because being single largest will also become important. If I'm at 44, whoever is 44 can have, can get the independents on their side. We keep saying BJP needs 40.
No, and
so
then the
BJP
big winner of the day is Omar Abdullah, and the second big winner of the day is Nayab Saini and the BJP, because the Congress may end up in government in Jammu and Kashmir, but that's only riding pillion on the NC scooter. Whereas in Haryana, where they were in a direct fight, in a direct dangle with the BJP, it's the BJP that's bested them.
True. And what's also happening in Haryana, on ECI website, the vote share gap is closing. So what was 3% gap in favor of Congress is now less than 2. And slowly something which you and Yoginji were discussing, why the winner takes up larger seats, is when more and more votes are going to get counted, the margin with the bigger number is always higher. And so now that is going to translate in favor of BJP compared to what you were thinking in terms
so
of...
So what you are saying, this is interesting. If the vote share is more or less even, the BJP is benefiting disproportionately at the moment because they've gone up also in terms of vote share far more than the Congress has, and the Congress on the other hand, once it's an even vote share, then it's anybody's game, right? Up to now we were saying because the Congress was 3% ahead, therefore the Congress might get a disproportionate number of seats as the votes are counted. That gap, if anything, you're saying is reducing, it's not widening. So clearly the BJP with every round counted is actually narrowing the gap rather than...
And has a higher probability of now keeping this...
So you see, I think this is the most fascinating election because in the space of 2 hours from crackers, I would love to meet Pawan Kheda. We've got to get Pawan Kheda on the show today. He was crackers, laddus.
Now they can't say EVM mein jhol hai.
That's
now
right.
They can't even say, after having already burst the crackers and had the sweets, now they can't say Amit Shah and Modi have fixed the election.
And you see others in J&K now, 10, almost 10 now.
Okay, so we can
is
take a
also
look at
turning into a story.
If we take a look at Jammu and Kashmir, because the big turnaround in Haryana meant that Jammu and Kashmir went out of the headlines just for a moment. 9 leads for the others. This includes 7 independents and 2 People's Conference. So 2 for the People's Conference, Handwada being one of them and Bandipora being the other. So you've got a situation where Sajjad Lone is winning in Handwara. He's got 9,799 votes, People's Conference. And in Bandipora as well, you've got Usman Abdul Majid, who's currently leading. So those are the leads coming in from Jammu and Kashmir, where it seems very comfortable that the NC and the Congress will form the new government. Out of these 48 for the India Alliance, the Congress has 8, the NC 39. Remember, the Congress fought 32, so their strike rate is only 1 in 4, whereas the NC is at 39, clearly carrying the day. And the likes of Mamata Banerjee will turn around and say, this is the problem, Congress is the Kamzor Kadi.
If these numbers hold, I think, as I said, the Congress is the one which today is the big loser. You lose a state where you expected to win because of 10 years anti-incumbency. You piggyback, some would say, on the national conference, which is doing strongly and therefore is proving that they have the organization and they had it. You go to Kashmir, the Congress changed the Congress president just weeks before the election. Ghulam Ahmad Mir was dropped and Mr. Kada was brought in. He's winning his own seat. But that really shows when you change your party president just weeks before the election that something is wrong on the ground. In fact, Mr. Mir is in charge of Jharkhand as a general secretary of the Congress. In Jammu, on the other hand, you didn't invest enough time in putting, sending a Priyanka. Why did you send a Priyanka Gandhi Vadra?
Rahul didn't campaign much in Jammu.
He hardly did.
And
Priyanka did one rally there.
If that's where you're putting up your maximum candidate, that's where you should campaign. This is really Omar Abdullah and Farooq Abdullah's victory.
And let's
Even
be
in
clear.
Haryana, Rajdeep, other than the last 3 days when Rahul Gandhi came in, Priyanka Gandhi and Rahul Gandhi practically gave Haryana to the Hoodas to even campaign. Who campaigned? You had a Sachin Pilot who campaigned in the Ahirwal region. You had a Dotasra who came in from Rajasthan. But the top leadership of the Congress saved the last 3 days. The dying hours of the election did not campaign.
No, but Rahul Gandhi did 3 or 4 yatras there. He did about 8 or 9 rallies. He can't now, you see, you can't say that Rahul Gandhi...
4 rallies.
Yeah, but that's not, the fact therefore is that Rahul Gandhi was expected to do more, right? He did a yatra. Did they take Haryana for granted? Then will be the question. Did they get overconfident? Or did they put all their eggs in the Hooda basket and that has recoiled on them?
They didn't read the political landscape. This is something which I have to say. One local journalist from Jeend told me. And he says, Congress को ये समझ नहीं आ रही है कि कितने निर्दलीय खड़े हैं. उनको गिनती भी नहीं समझ में आ रही है. और ये अगर एक निर्दलीय 2000 वोट लेके जाता है, कांग्रेस 2000 वोट में इलेक्शन हारती है सीट पर.
There were lots of firecrackers, dolls at the Congress headquarters. Let's go back to Rahul Gautam and let's see what's happening at the Congress headquarters now. Congress leading only on 35. The BJP on 49, seeming to be heading towards forming a government once again in Haryana. Where are all the guys with the dolls and the firecrackers, Rahul?
Well, they all have disappeared, Rahul. I'll just show you the current scenario here at AICC. There are hardly any Congress workers now. There are a couple of spokespersons who are still here and engaging with the media persons, saying that they are still confident that Congress will come to power. But dolls, sweets, all sort of things that we saw early in the morning have gone now, and this clearly shows that how Congress at this point of time, I can tell to our viewers, is in panic mode. What numbers are playing at the screens now. Congress is obviously worried about the situation which is unfolding in Haryana. We've been informed that shortly from now, the 3 observers that were appointed by Congress party, Ashok Gehlot, Ajay Makan and Pratap Singh Bajwa, they are likely to go to Chandigarh in order to salvage the situation. So clearly, you can say that the party is over as far as Congress is concerned for Haryana, and clearly there is sort of a silence, which we are now witnessing here at AICC headquarters.
Okay, let me go to Dr. Shama Mohammed, National Spokesperson, Congress at the moment. Shama Mohammed, it's been quite a roller coaster, at the end of which it appears the BJP now pulling ahead of the Congress in Haryana. This is a bad day in the office for you if these numbers hold, because it means that the Congress is not even being able to take advantage of seeming anti-incumbency in Haryana. You all were bursting crackers 2 hours ago. The crackers have gone silent.
Rajdeep Sardesai, you're a very, very senior anchor and a journalist, along with Rahul and Preeti sitting there. You know that at 11 o'clock there are trends. The EC doesn't say anybody has won, they say leading and trailing. Now, Haryana is a small state. Each candidate's vote varies, the winner and the loser, sometimes between 2,000 to 3,000. So definitely by 12 we will get to know what exactly is the situation, and not now. And even right now only 20% of the votes have been counted. So how can we say that we are doing not well or not good? I'm telling you, by 12:30, Congress party will be having majority and we will be winning this election. I'm sure of it. I've been doing this for the last 10 years and I know by 11 nobody can know anything. It takes around 12:30 in a state like Haryana, where the difference is not much between the candidates when they win or lose.
You know, you're saying that, but you know, now the numbers have relatively, the trends at least have solidified in the last half hour or so. And there is a clear gap emerging. You know, there was talk of an Andhi, tsunami, wave. All of that is being thrown out of the window.
Rajdeep, I was there in Haryana. Okay, I have been there, and when I went there, I felt for sure it's a tsunami. All different people, even the Bharatiya Janata Party people were admitting that it's going to be a tsunami for us. So then it is not, it's not a surprise, but something else if things go in the other way. See the Jawans, the Shingu border, the wall built over there, the Kisans from Punjab could not come this side. There's a lot of anger against Agniveer. There's a lot of anger on what what the Bharatiya Janata Party has done to Pahalwan. There is unemployment, and as you've seen, there was no photograph of Mr. Modi, or for that matter.
But Shama Mohammed, all well and good, but no, all well and good. One could have accepted this argument if the numbers were reversed. If today, right now, Shama, if the Congress stood at 49 and the BJP at 35, which is the current trends, one could have accepted and actually argued that point of view, that this is a referendum against the central schemes, be it Agniveer, farm protest or the wrestlers protest. But this doesn't look like that.
No, but again, Preeti, you're also a senior journalist. You know that the trends at 11 is not what is going to be at 12:31. I'm repeating it again and again. Haryana is a small state. Let's wait till 12. If you right now tell me, Shama, 30 of BJP candidates have won, then I will admit. 40 BJP candidates have won, then I will admit. There is something called leading and trailing. I have seen numerous times in my last 10 years where trailing has gone up to leading. And I am telling you right now, Preeti, we will win this election. Wait till 12 and then you talk to me.
No, we can wait till 12, ma'am, but either way, for a party... Ma'am, we can wait till 12 for either way for a party that was celebrating a victory at 9 a.m. with crackers. Did you all celebrate prematurely? Did overconfidence get the better of you?
See, you have to understand one thing, Rajdeep. There are people called the Karyakartas, all right? Karyakartas of every party celebrate feeling that they're going to win. We can't hold them back. You know, they are our pillars. And I always respect my karyakartas more than anybody else. I myself am a karyakarta of this party. So different people have different ways of celebrating. Let them celebrate. It's fine. You know, it's nothing wrong in it. But yes, what I certainly feel, I'm somebody who looks at the glass half full and not half empty. And I certainly believe, or what I experienced in Haryana when I traveled across, is that we are winning this election 110%. Wait, Rajdeep, have some patience and no need to keep saying, you guys are right now talking as if the Bharatiya Janata Party has won and what has gone wrong with the Congress. That is what I was listening to your discussion along with Rahul and Preeti. And the talk started, there was an issue with Kumari and there was an issue Kumari was not talking to Huda, all those things. Anil Vij was not even talking to Saini. So there are issues there also. So let's wait. Why this hurry of declaring a victory before a victory has even been declared by the Election Commission of India?
No, but then it was not us, ma'am. You all were celebrating. You're saying Karyakarta's word. Typically, though, there was a sense, kaun banega? Mukhyamantri was the Congress's narrative instead of kaise jeetna hai chunav. For the last 2 weeks, all I've been hearing...
Can I also just point out that on an average, 4 to 5 rounds are done. There are 17 to 20 rounds. The 4 to 5 rounds of poll counting which has already happened is much bigger than any poll. Statistically, the trends are set. So if the Congress thinks they can end up at 49 and the BJP at 35, that aren't happening.
Yeah.
It can go up a little, this can come down a little, but the trend of the BJP likely ending up as the single largest party in Haryana is quite settled. And frankly, this is massively embarrassing for the Congress because after 10 years of anti-incumbency, if you still can't beat the BJP, this is Chhattisgarh all over. You are so confident that you are winning, and in the end you haven't. I want to introduce Hasib Drab, who understands Jammu and Kashmir politics, has made the special effort of coming down to our studio. So thank you very much and welcome, sir. I want you to take our viewers through what's happening in Jammu and Kashmir, right? Because Haryana was supposed to be a clear verdict. Jammu Kashmir was supposed to be the Kante ki takkar. It seems Jammu Kashmir very comfortably settling towards Farooq Abdullah, Omar Abdullah and the Congress. 39-8 versus 28 for the BJP. How are you reading this verdict?
Pretty much expected. If you were to look at it from a Valley-centric perspective or from J&K itself, also mirrors what we saw in the parliament. So there's a very clear divide now. But not that it has been in unison ever, but now it's much sharper with Jammu voting one way and the Valley voting another way. It was widely expected, particularly after what had happened in 2019, both in terms of the constitutional status and the statehood. It was expected that the Valley would vote one way. And
no, but what's also very important is that these, for example, the AIP, which had Engineer Rashid and the Jamaat candidates are leading only on one seat, which is the Rafiabad seat, and the others are on 8, which includes 2 for the People's Conference, none for the Apni party. So some of these smaller experiments seem to have come a cropper.
That's right. True in the parliament as well. Most of them lost the security deposit.
No, but Engineer Rashid won.
Yeah, Engineer Rashid was an exception at that point of time, that's right. But I think in terms of whether it's the Aam Aadmi, Apni party, or it's the
People's
Conference, or you see the traction has never been built. So this was one of the things that was tried in the Valley, was to fragment the Valley votes. Right? So this is, you have to also understand that these are not comparable figures between what happened last time, because between last time and now, there is delimitation that has happened, right? So there's a rearrangement of constituency that has happened. Jammu has gained more seats than Valley has gained. So the smaller parties was basically a strategy to fragment the Valley votes, which could not have been fragmented through delimitation.
But the other trend, which is important, is that the fall in the vote share of the PDP is very apparent. The PDP, which had 26% of the vote share last time, has fallen by 18% down to only 8. The BJP is up to 27, up 7. The NC and the Congress are at 38. But this is the biggest fall in vote share that we've seen in these elections. It's a collapse of the PDP vote. You understand this party well. What do you think happened?
No, actually, I think PDP has done relatively well.
In what way? So you're down 18%.
No, you have to understand what happened after 2019.
Sure.
PDP was decimated. Out of the 10 cabinet ministers, 7 moved out,
sure.
right? So nobody expected PDP to do perhaps more than 2 or 3 seats. Forget the vote share for a moment. But the entire party was decimated. And it goes to the credit that at least if they're managing to win 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 seats and retain an 8% share, 2 months back, 3 months back was inconceivable. So they have done well compared to where they were post-2019. Vis-a-vis 2014, yes, there is a thing, but that was a different era.
But in these numbers, do you think the PDP will ally with the NC and the Congress? Because they don't need. 48 is the majority, even if I include 5 LG-nominated members.
Yes.
So the NC Congress at this moment have a majority. Would they want to take these 5 PDP members in your view or not?
Well, we are getting conflicting signals from Dr. Abdullah and Omar. Perhaps a little premature on part of Dr. Abdullah, but there has been a general sense that PDP would support, even if it's not required.
But the sense is that while PDP may support, now you don't need PDP in your government. With these numbers, I will take some independents. I'll take PDP support. But are you worried about what many people in Kashmir have told me, the growing divide between the valley and Jammu? If anything, I mean, it's not the first time that we've seen it, no. But at least when you all were in power, you were able to strike a relationship between Jammu and the valley. You had a deputy chief minister of the BJP, a chief minister. That may not, I mean, are you worried that this election has only thrown up the widening divide, Haseeb, between Jammu and the valley?
That has been a historical fact, Rajdeep.
Is that going to make it more difficult to govern?
It's much more difficult for a variety of reasons, and I'll come to that. But before we go there, the 2014 alliance, which was seen as a North Pole, South Pole, was primarily driven by the fact that PDP did not have a single member of the Legislative Assembly from Jammu. How can you run a state where half the state is not represented in the government? That was one major reason, which, besides other reasons as well. So, quite apart from the fact that Jammu and Kashmir are different in every single way, whether it's linguistics, whether it's politics, whether it's ethnicity, all of these, and this has been a historical fact. So to that extent, it will be difficult. But what I'm really worried about is how stable, A, this government will be. Two, how will they run the government with Jammu not being in government? I don't know how many
No,
members out of the
I have
48.
that. In Jammu, it's not as if the NC and the Congress have been decimated. They have 11 leads currently, 8 for the NC, 3 for the Congress. So especially in the Indarwal, Naushera, Rajouri, Ramban,
So let's look at, Rahul, can we look at the numbers, say how much has the INC, NC got in Pir Panchal and in Chenab Valley? That will be a critical factor. So don't look at Jammu as one unit. Look at it in 3 units. One, the Chenab Valley, which is mixed population where gerrymandering happened. Constituencies were changed. Look at Pir Panchal, which is again an important segment, and then Jammu Plains, right? Within Valley, look at typically South Kashmir, North Kashmir, Central Kashmir. So one needs to understand what numbers have come in from Chenab Valley and Pir Panchal. Traditionally, Congress would do very well in Chenab, largely because of Ghulam Nabi Azad, which is where he comes from. Now, he being out of the party, and there's been some movement outside his party as well. How well has Congress done there? And how well has NC done in Poonch and Rajouri, which actually was where NC would get bulk of its seats in the Jammu region. NC has been the only party that's a pan-state party. But somehow in the 1990s, 96, they gave up Jammu to Congress in an alliance, which has somehow continued, and they have lost that pan-JK status.
No, but we have that data. For example, they're winning in Poonch, they're winning in Doda, they're winning in Indarwal, they're winning in Mendhar, they're winning in Naushera, they're winning in Nagseni, they're winning in Ramban. So, so it's not as if they've been hammered. Yes. The BJP has 27 leads in Jammu, the Congress and the NC have 11.
So,
there's some representation.
That way there is some representation.
It's not marginal representation.
Yes.
When do you expect statehood to be restored?
Well, honestly, I wouldn't hazard a guess on that, but governance with BJP at the center would be a difficult ask. And now, what is the incentive for the BJP to grant statehood at this point of time? What leverage does the state government have? So it's going to be a very difficult thing to run this government, given the fact that this is closer to being a municipality than being a state. So all the legislative powers have been taken away. The home police has now been given back to the center. So there is a different regime in operation which will affect how effective this government will be.
Okay, well, Rahul, I know you're looking at Jammu and Kashmir. I just want to say, because Haryana becomes, so critical at the moment, the vote share gap is 2%, which was 3% about an hour ago. So if anything, the BJP has narrowed the vote share. So recent votes have it would seemingly the BJP is getting a disproportionate share. The only hope that the Congress has at the moment, if they have hope, is that in the seats less than 1,000, the BJP leads in 6, the Congress in 4.
But they started questioning, Rajdeep, the data again. Supriya Shrineth of the Congress has tweeted to say, ये trend बदलेगा. Election Commission की website data update नहीं कर रही. हमारे data में Congress आगे तस्वीर बदलेगी.
No, but what is their data? The only data you can go by, unless they've got some special data we don't have. The only thing is less than 5,000, Congress leading in 20, BJP in 25. With about 10, 12 rounds to go, all the 5,000, less than 5,000 can change. I don't think anything else will change dramatically. Less than 10,000, if you look at, the BJP is up in 39, 29. So effectively, the BJP is going to be around 40. That's certain. That's almost certain.
They could also be 50 plus.
Yeah, so, but more likely at least 40 to 48, this range. For the Congress to go up from 36 to 45 is going to be very difficult now. So for the Congress to become single largest is becoming more and more difficult in Haryana.
Shows once again how the Congress is basically piggybacking on the NC, where they were in a direct duel with the BJP. They seem to have been bested again.
Yep. No, I don't think, even within the NC, there was great desire to partner with the Congress in terms of an alliance. Perhaps NC would have done better if Congress was not an ally there, and they could have probably gotten more seats within the valley.
But there's no real way of knowing that.
Yeah, there's no real way of knowing it. But two things become very clear. One is, as you said, and that's absolutely right, is that the smaller party experiment has failed. There's no question about that. And BJP has managed to retain Jammu, because the important fact is that after the abrogation of 370, if any part of the state was affected, it was Jammu, in terms of business.
Where are you getting this?
So, and if you go back in history, the Act of 1928 was meant for Jammu, to protect the Jammu citizens. I think that's where it's credible on part of BJP, because till about a couple of months ago, nobody was giving BJP more than 12 to 15 seats in Jammu, and they've come up to 28.
Iltija Mufti in Bij Bihara, on the family bastion of the PDP, trailing. She seems to be conceding defeat. What do you make of that?
Mehbooba also lost Bij Bihara. Even in the parliament elections, nobody voted in Bij Bihara. Perhaps trying to atone for the sins of having allied with BJP. It's not gone down well with it. I was instrumental in that alliance, and how difficult it was, I know. Do
you think that's really what marred the PDP's credibility with the voters in the valley?
Without doubt.
You haven't recovered since?
Haven't recovered. Absolutely.
आपने डुबा दिया और आप बॉम्बे चले गए?
नहीं, I was not before that. It was a very well thought out decision, and as I said, what was being discussed, that it would have been impossible to run the state without Jammu being on board. And today now you have a semblance of representation from Poonch, Rajouri and others. That was important. Because
in your understanding, will Omar become chief minister, or he'll say, till it's a UT, it makes no sense for me to be CM? Or you think he'll take what he gets?
From 2 seats, you see, you also have to give it to NC that this is the only party that has not suffered any losses in terms of people. 5 years. Now go back to 14. 10 years without power, huge efforts to split the party, or people just desert. Like PDP, it was an overnight affair. One fine morning, out of 10 cabinet ministers, 7 walk across and join Altaf Bukhari, who's also a minister in former party. Now look at it from that perspective. NC has not lost a single politician to any other party, and that is a huge thing.
Why do you think this smaller party experiment has come a cropper in Jammu Kashmir?
They're all seen as being allies of the BJP. It's a fact. They're all being seen as proxies. So it's, in fact, the major kind of discussion in the elections, both Parliament and Assembly, has been accusing each of the parties accusing the other of being a proxy of the BJP.
No, but do you think because this happened during the Lok Sabha elections and Engineer Rashid won, which is why the likes of Farooq and Omar Abdullah were able to communicate this to voters in Kashmir? that if Engineer Rashid, Altaf Bukhari, these people win, then it will be advantage BJP. That message they were able to drive home.
It would have been very difficult, very, very difficult, in my understanding, for anybody to do an alliance with BJP at this stage. After 2019, it's not just about 370, it's about reorganizing the state, it's about reorganizing the constituencies, it's about giving more seats to Jammu. The difference at some point was 13, is down to 4. Those 4 are mapped by extraneous
5
nominations. So the system has been geared towards instability. It must go to the credit to the Valley voters that they have voted one way, which is NC. Because NC, if you recollect, contested only 33 seats in the Valley. 11 went to Congress. So if you would see from that perspective, they have done very well. So it's a very mature kind of voting from the Valley side. And similarly on the Jammu side, it's just one way, which is like BJP is getting 28, 29, whatever the number is now.
In Jammu, the BJP's got 27, down 3 from the last time.
Yeah.
The NC and the Congress are at 11, up 3 from the last time. Sorry? No, because we did an extrapolation converting 87 into 90.
87 into 90.
Otherwise, they're not comparable. So you went down to every counting center.
That's a good clarification, though.
Looked at the. Otherwise, you won't be able to compare. Otherwise, I can't show a swing from the last election. So you've kind of made apples and apples.
Perfect.
Otherwise, you're not comparing this fairly.
The total number of seats has increased.
Yeah.
The number of seats in Jammu has increased disproportionately. So to that extent, those elements need to be factored in.
But the good thing is democracy is back, elections are back, and there is a clear verdict.
There is a clear
People
verdict.
have voiced their opinion very, very clearly.
A clear verdict becomes even more important because the system has been designed for instability, if you see it from that perspective. But going forward, will this actually be the beginning of the end of bifurcation?
Why do you say that?
Because now what will connect Jammu and Kashmir? Now, this is something that needs to be thought through. You cannot have a system whereby one part of a state or a UT or whatever you want to call it is completely out of 27 people or more are just don't get represented in that thing. Nothing from Jammu comes in. How many ministers will come in? The good thing being that Rajouri, Poonch and others are a part of it. So you see, there again, the important part is that in the delimitation exercise or even the parliament exercise, a part of Jammu, which is Rajouri and Poonch, was merged with South Kashmir. Anantnag, right? So that also has an impact. So are you then saying that now that part is closer to the valley, at least for electoral politics, if it's relevant for parliament?
No, but that's an artificial creation. You've got a mountain range in the middle.
Is an artificial creation. The whole state was an artificial creation. Let's look at it, Jammu, Kashmir, Ladakh. It was done in 1846 for different reasons. The point I'm trying to make is, some bits of Jammu, we tend to see Jammu as being BJP and Valley being whatever else. The fact remains, within Jammu, there are pockets like the Pir Panchal, like the Chenab Valley, which are A, Muslim-dominated, B, closer to the valley, both in language, linguistics, culture, and all that. So at some point, this is going to become an issue that is this, there are a lot of differences between Jammu and Kashmir, both geographically, ethnically, linguistically, now politically. Will you be able to keep the state for governance purposes is a question that needs to be asked. So you have created a system of instability, but does that hurt the governance of the state? Because at the end of the day, Rajdeep, it's not about electoral arithmetic. It's how are you going to run the state?
And particularly because you said that the assembly, as most people believe, doesn't even have the powers of a strong municipality. Right. So what is the chief minister of Jammu and Kashmir, whoever does, what is he going to do? Will the centre give statehood, which we don't know whether they would give in the near future, even though they promised, either of which will create a lot of problems of governance, expectations not being met, the tussles between LG and chief minister of the kind that we've seen in Delhi, repeating in Kashmir could have it. So Kashmir is about the complications. Yes. While NC may celebrate reaching 50, half century, which will give them an element of comfort, the NC Congress, the fact of the matter is, the real question marks continue to remain in Haryana. I was just speaking to a Dainik Bhaskar journalist, and he said there were 33 seats. He's the editor of their Panipat edition and across Haryana. 33 seats which are less than 5,000. He says anything that can happen will happen in those 33 seats. That will what will decide Haryana. His own belief is both these parties will now be in the range of where they, roughly around where they are. One could be 5 less, one could be 5 more. But effectively, the BJP still remains in pole position now to form a government in Haryana. He also was raising questions about EC, increasing voter turnout in the last couple of days. But, those are questions that political parties will have to answer. At the end of the day, the EC will tell us that they do now turn out in real time. So
Last night they did.
Like they did in the Lok Sabha. So that can increase voter turnout. But as of now, I think the 33 seats, Rahul, many of them in the Jat heartland will decide.
We have some data, Rajdeep. 1.40 crore voters voted. 40 lakh votes have been counted. 1 crore votes still to be counted. So less than 30% of the votes have been counted. 70% are to be counted in the subsequent rounds. But the leads are consolidating. And you're also a numbers guy. So when the leads consolidate in this fashion, do you see any possibility of a turnaround? Or do you think it's more or less settled, a couple of seats up or a couple of seats down?
I would go along with the view that this is too large a lead to it now overturned.
And this, Rajat, is the first piece of political good news the BJP has had since the 4th of June. Everything seemingly was going wrong for them. To be able to win Haryana suddenly changes the narrative. Maharashtra, Jharkhand, Bihar, Delhi, they hit it with that much more gusto.
And BJP's supporters are more emotional than the Congress ones. And
उनके क्या है?
थोड़ा सा sinusoidal ज़्यादा चलता है तो थोड़ा जल्दी हताश होते हैं. But then now this will be a big booster for them, and you will see in Maharashtra where they, a lot of them have been saying like, okay, no decision is going our way. Suddenly you'll see them to be more upbeat and fighting for that every single, small vote percentages here and there.
The fact that they've retained Jammu.
They've retained Jammu.
Because from a business perspective, I can tell you, on the ground, there is a lot of difficulties that have happened post, even as simple as reviewing Octroy Post. A whole lot of Punjab businesses coming into Jammu and doing rice milling and stuff, which has hurt the interests of the Jammuites. So there was a lot of resentment. They have made a lot of ground in the last maybe month and a half through aggressive campaigning, through whatever. Fact remains they have moved from somewhere between 12 to 18 to 27. It's a
exactly.
big
So
jump.
This is what I was saying since long, that BJP was absolutely pushed against the wall. All odds were against them. They were hoping to get only 12 to 15 seats. Yes. But within 1 month, they worked so hard in Jammu. And I believe similarly, they worked very hard in Haryana as well.
And it has helped the BJP to separate Maharashtra and Haryana. Because then you could put the BJP has the resources, the machine to focus on state by state. So now they focused on Haryana and of course on Jammu, and they get the benefits. Then you move to Maharashtra and Jharkhand. Now the opposition, the Congress won't know, where do I put my effort in? Do I put it in Maharashtra or do I put it in Jharkhand? Jharkhand, I'm piggybacking in a way on the JMM. So where do I put as of now, there are only 6 seats in Haryana where the margin is less than 1,000. 7 as we speak. 5 the BJP is leading in those, 1 the Congress. So those are the only seats where I can see a major shift taking place, given the numbers that Rahul is saying. Less than 5,000, there are 41 seats. Now 41 seats less than 5,000, BJP leading in 22, Congress in 17, others in 2. But overall, Rahul, the picture that I can now see emerging is the Congress's best case scenario is to come around 40. The BJP, even at its worst case scenario, will be around 43, 44. And with those independents and the INLD getting 7% of the vote. So while the JJP is being wiped out with just 1% of the vote, INLD is getting 7%. So you could have a situation come the end of the day where...
And BJP is showing its agility. I think the party president, JP Nadda, has already called in a meeting and they are making his outreaches to the independents. No, but this is what I'm saying. BJP will ensure that not even a small opening is given to the Congress
Because INLD right before was very clear that it would support the BJP.
Right.
It had made it stand clear. The others 8 which are there, out of those 8, 6 are the ones which are going with the BJP.
And the others,
this is history in the making.
And one of the others is Savitri Jindal.
But Savitri Jindal and most of them go with the BJP. But this is history in the making.
Clear, it's because of the confirmation bias of many over here that we are stopping from calling this a victory for the BJP, because everybody went out, they thought the Congress ki Andhi, Tufan, Tsunami. Boss, when you're 49 versus 35, leave your personal bias outside the studio, look at the data for what it is. This is a massive historic victory for the Bharatiya Janata Party.
It's a win for the BJP.
It's a massive... Given the odds, it's a massive
win for the BJP.
It's history. I don't know what do you mean by confirmation bias outside. We do agree right here that this is history in the making, Rahul, because this is the first time any government in Haryana has consecutively come back for the 3rd term. And you've got to accept it.
And in some ways, the hubris of the Congress for having believed that they'd won this election before they actually had, And the fact that they strutted through this election thinking that this is a battle that they'd already won, that is now proving very costly, because even if from 34 they go up by a couple of seats, the end result is unlikely to change. Nayab Saini is most likely going to be sworn in as Chief Minister once again in the Bharatiya Janata Party, winning Haryana and changing India's political narrative within minutes. This changes the build-up to Maharashtra, this changes the build-up to Delhi, this changes the build-up to Jharkhand, and that is a massive change in the national political equation.
And the BJP is touched 50 now. So the BJP is touched 50, which I think they've only done once before.
They've never done it in Haryana.
During today's...
But this is the first time.
But during today's, for the first time, you've touched the halfway mark since about 2 hours ago.
But Rajdeep, they've bested their 2014 performance.
I can't see it changing now. No. Anything, for this to change will require another miracle. We saw one miracle between 9 and 10. I think the Congress is now clutching at straws in the belief that they are still in the fight in Haryana. I don't know where Supriya Srinath, you said, is getting a number saying our numbers are wrong.
But that's most of the Congress leaders are saying that now.
Because
most Congress leaders are saying that the EC is not updating numbers, but they are clutching at straws.
Because normally the close contest seats do not go one way. They are normally distributed in the same proportion as the overall tally.
Yeah, and if you look at the number of seats above 5,000, BJP is leading there by 5-6 seats.
10 seats.
10 seats. So it will go in that proportion.
That's the decisive lead which they have got essentially, because that's now
52 of NC.
10 or 14.
No, I'm missing the 52 of NC. I mean, look at how politics has turned, and I think pollsters will have to look at it. Pollsters predicted, look at all, edge for Congress NC in Haryana, clear victory, edge for Congress NC in Kashmir, clear victory in Haryana. What's happening? Exactly. Clear victory for Congress NC as of now in Jammu and Kashmir, and the BJP is winning Haryana. I mean, pollsters need to sort of look at themselves. We need to look at ourselves, of course, but we don't have to put numbers at least.
But Rajdeep, Haryana elections have always, like I said, because we've talked about the jalebi and the jaleb so much, have reflected the jalebi and the jaleb only through consecutive elections in Haryana. Most difficult to predict. And, like I said right in the beginning, that saying in Haryanvi, that is standing true for the BJP.
But the likes of Yogendra Yadav who came, who said it is very certain that the BJP is declining, brand Modi is decimated, it's one more step in the continuation of the end. All that narrative is out of the window. Now, if the BJP gets 48 seats, then the idea that Modi 3.0 is the last Modi government, that now raises a big question.
And no one, it's his home state, but no one is perfect. Look, the same Yogendra Yadav was being feted after Lok Sabha. That he's the only guy who got it right. And Yogendra ji is saying he's also stumped by the numbers as they stand. So, when it comes to these numbers game and translating vote shares into numbers, I think all of us need to take a step back and say, yaar, ye voter pe chhod do, hum us pe na pade. Because the moment you do it, you're seeing, what happens. The margins tighten, elections go either way. And every election now is showing it's very distinct to each other. Jammu and Kashmir is so distinct to what we are seeing taking place in Haryana. Maharashtra will be different again. I maintain none of this will have a major impact apart from momentum.
Rajdeep,
BJP will have more momentum now.
But momentum is very important.
It is.
Because in Haryana they fought with and the BJP is at its deadliest when it thinks it's losing.
Oh, yes.
When they think haar rahe, lut rahe, pit rahe, which is when the Karyakarta gets charged up and they actually make a go for it. When they think they're winning, they're also happy thinking ki 400 par ho gaye, we don't need to do very much. And that's when they lose. It is when you fight with your back to the wall that you have a good chance of winning. 52 for the NC Congress in Jammu and Kashmir. Hasib Drabu, it seems that votes are the new stones.
That's right. It's vote pelting in the valley. We've been saying that the vote is the new stone, and it is pretty much vote pelting happening in the valley, and it's not a bad thing. You've kind of moved into the democratic space. You're using, the power of the votes. So you are voting and voting in unison.
No, but there's so much enthusiasm around Engineer Rashid. Even when he came to our panchayat, there was a lot of enthusiasm around him. People want to get photos.
Yeah, but again, you see, the whole point is that at that stage, he had been held, he's in prison, so there's a lot of sympathy. But I think it was hugely exaggerated in the national media. Locally, it was very evident that Engineer Rashid will make an impact in the parliament. He will certainly not go and have an impact in the thing. First of all, he's not known beyond North Kashmir. Let's first of all see that.
Correct.
South Kashmir was completely a different territory for him, Central Kashmir a different territory from him. Then also, of course, the effective communication that he might not be what he pretends to be and that he is a proxy must have also dented the whole thing.
And it also throws up, Amitabh Tiwari, the question that the Congress, which thought we haven't really worked much on strengthening ourselves on the ground. Yes, Rahul Gandhi had these 2 yatras, but that apart, nothing much has changed. And yet everyone was convinced that the Congress is back. Now it raises questions, if you can't win Chhattisgarh, if you can't win Madhya Pradesh, you can't win Rajasthan, you can't win Haryana either, then where is the Congress back? That let's not count chicken before they are hatched.
Yeah, so essentially, see, what happens after big Modi rallies? There is a lot of ground connect with the voter which the BJP, Panna Pramukhs, etc. do. So what you are essentially hinting at is at that leg after the Bharat Jodo Yatra. So the connect with the voter of the local cadre has been missing, it seems, because the local organization, it still seems to be weak, and there is a sense of overconfidence perhaps in the in the Congress party. They have got 99, but we have all seen that they have been behaving as they have won, and NDA has not won. NDA was a pre-poll alliance, not a post-poll alliance. Correct. There was a setback in terms of seats, and BJP also getting its act together. They realize that these 2 elections will set the tone for Maharashtra, Jharkhand, and even Delhi and Bihar next year. So I think they have worked on the ground silently also, away from media chatter.
And remember, Amit Shah didn't do a single interview all through this campaign, not once. He did a couple of briefings for the 100 days of the Modi 3.0 government, but not one interview. Didn't come to any of the panchayats. And there they are, 49-35. I'm sure he'll be out soon, saying, "Achha, batao kya puchna hai."
So that is what the difference is with the Congress. If you see MP also, MP and Chhattisgarh, Congress from starts to behave or say that we are winning, we are winning, we are winning. Whereas the BJP acknowledged both in MP and Chhattisgarh that they are on the back foot, that they are not going to win. And they perhaps took steps to make those changes. Here also, I don't think BJP ever claimed that they are winning this state. They were apprehensive, or they acknowledged the fact that they were on a back foot, and they took necessary steps to make those changes.
But now it means all our analysis that we made, Manohar Lal Khattar was removed too late. Perhaps he was removed just at the right time, you could argue. The analysis that we made that, that the Congress did the right thing by projecting in a way a face, unlike in other states where there's this constant tussle, kaun banega Mukhyamantri, that analysis goes out of the window. The fact that, we thought that by consolidating the Jat vote and the Dalit vote would also come to the BJP, to the Congress, that may not have happened. It almost seems as if what the BJP has done is turn around this election, make it more fragmented. I'm presuming that the fragmentation has helped.
Yeah.
The Congress vote share has gone up from all indications to 41%. But because the fragmentation also has taken place simultaneously, all analysis is going out of the window. Everyone is groping to find a reason as to why this has happened.
See, I think if we draw from MP Chhattisgarh example, then what happened in Lok Sabha and what's happening now. Any time any party took for granted their victory, they are basically being pushed back. In Lok Sabha, BJP thought they are basically sweeping through. They got pushed back. And so once you start thinking ahead of yourself and voters, you are going to get...
So hubris, arrogance has been hit both in the Lok Sabha for the BJP and in Haryana for the Congress.
And I think even here in Jammu Kashmir, I think BJP thought that they have an arithmetic on their side, right? All they need to do is get 30 plus seats in Jammu, and then there could be a easily post-coalition alliance. And now it seems that they are stuck below 30. They are even losing seats in Jammu.
At this moment, there's a question about who gets to be the next BJP president. Dharmendra Pradhan has led the BJP as the Prabhari for the state, and within BJP ranks, he'll be quite the star today in a battle where they had very little chance. Biplab Deb as the Prabhari, Dharmendra Pradhan as the Prabhari, they've led the party to a historic victory. If the BJP is at 50, the Congress is at 34. Within BJP ranks, his, his own star.
Could he be a future president of the party?
And given the fact that you are discussing
given that he's an organizational man, could he be a future president of the BJP?
I think his names are anyway doing the round for very long time now.
No, but this does his credentials a lot of good because he's
his credentials have always been there, by the way. I mean, you and me judge in a studio room, but from an ideological perspective, he's been seen as a true ideological foot soldier, always holding the ground no matter what elections. He was also there in Odisha, by the way. He was trying to, continuously keep the momentum going for all these decade-long efforts of BJP that finally resulted in a BJP government. So that is there. Now, I'll come to the point of there is this behavioral analysis wherein bandwagon effect is discussed or a winner takes all. But public never sort of goes with the winner mindset. Like, if somebody is winning the election, let me just go out and vote and make the winner win even by bigger margin. That did not hold in Lok Sabha because BJP was clearly going with a narrative of 400 plus. Had that settled in, public could have thought that, anyway BJP is winning, why should we waste our vote? Let us go out and, kick into that narrative of winner takes all. Did not work there. Even in Haryana, by the way, that winner takes all mindset, which was settled in, ossified by the narrative that Congress is winning.
Only the
Jats did not think, nobody thought
no, Rajat,
so.
only the Congress believed that this was a pro-Congress election. This was not a pro-Congress election.
Everybody that were picking up.
This was a negative vote election, and I think the X factor of the Haryana election will be the independents. Whichever way we look at it.
No, I wanted to make a, since you're talking about how Congress approaches elections, it's extremely curious how Congress contested these elections. First of all, there is no outreach to Jammu. I think Rahul didn't even visit. Yeah. Then you have Mr. Kharge, who doesn't go even a couple of hours into doing a rally, does it by telephone. Most significantly, the president, who is designated in Valley, is from the Valley and not from Jammu. The major story had to be in Jammu, and that's what would cut into BJP. Okay. BJP would not have got
now
26.
Now the Congress is raising questions about data once again. Jairam Ramesh has tweeted, now the data is looking fishy and suspicious. Like the Lok Sabha elections in Haryana, we are witnessing the slowing down of the uploading of up-to-date trends on the Election Commission website. Is the BJP trying to build pressure on the administration by sharing outdated and misleading trends? A very direct charge coming from the communications head of the Congress party, Jairam Ramesh, questioning why data is being uploaded slow on the ECI website.
What does that mean? What does that really mean? I'm not able to understand.
मजा नहीं आ रहा data देख के.
But how does that change? Whether the data is slow or fast, how does that change?
No, his allegation is that counting is happening faster, it's getting uploaded slow, so it looks as if this trend is settling, whereas actually it is not. That's the charge.
But the result will be the same.
Yeah, the result is not changing the result. My point is, let's assume for a moment that the EC is uploading the data slowly. How does that change the results? Because
no, it doesn't.
Over the last 1.5 hours...
Sir, कुछ तो बोलना पड़ेगा ना. You kept saying 70 आ रही, 80 आ रही, आंधी है, तूफान है, सुनामी है. Now जब 34 है तो क्या बोलो? कुछ तो बोलना है.
You know, a non-Congress India Alliance partner on WhatsApp has said, Congress can't think they are the big boss of India. Others in India, including NC, are winning more than them. You know, look at how politics works. Suddenly, even the relationship within the India Alliance...
Clearly, it's somebody from the NC.
But please look at how it plays. This morning, Congress looked upbeat. They looked like, they were going to win Haryana, then march into Maharashtra. Maharashtra Congress leaders saying, we want to be chief ministers, we are going to be single largest party. All of that has changed in a place of a couple of hours. So I think that equation also between Congress and its own allies will change. I certainly think for the BJP, particularly for Prime Minister Modi, huge boost. The double engine that we spoke about is very much backed. He can now certainly claim that, the double engine is working on all the analysis that we did in the morning about double engine, about Congress Mukt Bharat, about...
You have to do the antithesis of that.
Absolutely. Because the fact is, Prime Minister Modi...
So someone should take Rajdeep's posts from this morning, juxtapose them with the ones that come now, and say, kya ho raha? But the fact is, that's just the kind of day it's been. You can't blame any pollster or pundit because from the morning to now, the verdict has changed. And Haryana really is a very complicated state when it comes to doing surveying because it happened during the Lok Sabha election, soon after in 2019, very big change, and in 2024 as well. Relative to what was expected, the Congress at only 34, the BJP hitting a half-century mark in Haryana, a very commendable performance which changes not just what happens in Haryana, but what happens in Maharashtra and Jharkhand as well.
Every state is different from the other. I keep repeating, Rahul. I mean, each state has its own way of doing politics. But what it does, and this is what a strategist of the of the Mahayuti in Maharashtra is saying, now we have the momentum. This is a huge morale booster to us. So suddenly...
Pawan Khera is speaking at the moment. Let's listen to what he was saying.
खोल दीजिए। सब में उनको 4 राउंड के बाद पीछे दिखाया गया था, जबकि 9 राउंड के बाद वो 4,437 वोटों से आगे हैं, अब 5200 वोटों से आगे हो गई हैं। तो ये आंकड़ों में जो मिसमैच है, गैप है, ये क्यों है, ये हम बार बार चुनाव आयोग से अभी हमारे महासचिव जयराम रमेश जी ने ट्वीट करके भी पूछा है कि ये क्या दबाव डालने की कोशिश हो रही है स्थानीय प्रशासन पर। इसलिए हम फिर से चुनाव आयोग को कह रहे हैं, आगाह कर रहे हैं कि इसमें तुरंत एक्शन ले, तुरंत जितने राउंड्स हो चुके हैं अपडेट करें, जितने भी जो ट्रेंड्स हैं उनको अपडेट किया जाए।
सर किस तरीके की आपको खामियां आपको लगता है या क्या होना चाहिए?
11 राउंड हो चुके हैं, 12 राउंड हो चुके हैं, आप अभी 6ठे या 7वें राउंड पर ही रुके हुए हैं। चैनल्स उसी पर निर्भर कर रहे हैं, चुनाव आयोग के उस पर। रिपोर्टर्स के अपने आंकड़े बाहर आ नहीं रहे हैं। कभी कोई काउंटिंग में ऐसा नहीं होता कि रिपोर्टर्स के अपने आंकड़े बाहर नहीं आते।
So, how do you see in the initial trends, Congress was leading, and now the Congress party is trailing in Haryana, and the numbers are favoring BJP only as far as the trends
there is a mismatch in the actual numbers of rounds that have already been counted and the number of rounds that are being shown on television through the Election Commission data. Because the Election Commission data is lagging behind. They are still showing the 4th or the 5th round, whereas 11, 12 rounds have already been counted. Our General Secretary Communication has already tweeted to the Election Commission asking questions. Are they trying to put pressure on the local administration by delaying display of and uploading of data?
But sir, if we see Jammu and Kashmir, they are giving the live numbers, live trends.
Yeah, so see the mismatch between Haryana and Jammu and Kashmir. In Jammu and Kashmir, you are getting live data as for with every round that is being counted. But in Haryana, it's not so. Why?
Okay.
All right, you had Pawan Khera there, who was very, very happy this morning at the Congress headquarters. And suddenly now the Congress there, not just Pawan Khera, Jairam Ramesh has tweeted a short while ago, Supriya Shrinate has tweeted a concerted attempt by the Congress to at least give out the message that, hey, listen, they are questioning the data. They are saying that the EC is very, very slow, while 11 and 12 rounds have happened. And most of the constituencies in Haryana have about 16, some to 20, but usually 16 to 17 rounds of counting takes place. Some go on till 20. Congress is saying 11 and 12 rounds have happened on most of the constituencies there. The EC is only projecting till now round 6. They said that they have spoken with the EC. They're going to go to the EC and ask them at an urgent basis to update that data. But let's cut across to Rohan Gupta, who switched from the Congress to the BJP, and it's a good day, Rohan Gupta, to be in the BJP today. Because if you look at the Haryana numbers of all that was predicted, all that was said, what's coming out right now, very, very favorable for the BJP. You're going to be scripting history.
See, I was happy when in the morning because I am not the person who is after short-term things. I know what is the basic narrative and what is the ideological difference. And I think Rahul is there. Just few days back we were on debate. One thing I told that BJP knows the art of converting anti-incumbency into pro-incumbency. This is the only party in Indian history which can convert even after 10 years anti-incumbency into pro-incumbency. We need to understand the reasons. See, this election is very, very crucial in terms of overall narrative and what has happened on ground. If you see Congress party, their core narrative was Samvidhan. They were dividing the communities into caste. That was their core narrative. But at the same time, their most senior leader, who was Dalit, the way she was giving interview, the people of Haryana realized that if this can happen to us, the same thing will happen to us. They remembered the Jungle Raj before 10 years. One other important thing, after 10 years, BJP changed the CM. There should have been issues within the BJP, but there was no issue. Everybody was together because for them, party is first. Third important thing, BJP never realizes, because I handled the complete war room here, I was in charge of war room, BJP never believes in, Hawa feedback like exit polls. And this is the death of all the exit polls today in India, let me tell you very frankly, because I am the person of the applied market research, and I know how this exit poll happens. The same person who is responsible on ground does the exit poll for 10 people. This doesn't work. You need to do micromanagement. BJP ensured that each and every seat dynamics
all seat dynamics were
Rohan?
taken care while deciding the candidates. Even after that, the campaigning. Yeah, tell me.
Rohan, you've seen therefore both BJP and Congress closely. You tell us the big difference. Is it the micromanagement? You've been in Gujarat. I remember there was a famous election, 2017, which went to the wire again. And again, the Congress lost that because their micromanagement failed them. Is that the big difference you see when working with the BJP and working with the Congress? BJP focuses on micromanagement. Congress, as you say, is doing Hawa Hawai.
Absolutely. See, Rajdeep, the decisions in BJP are taken from the ground feedback. In Congress party, decision is taken by few advisors of high command. They sit in AC cabin, somebody informs them something and they take decision. Doesn't work like that. Somebody told high command that, okay, there is one leader who is strong and all other leaders you should ignore. So 72 tickets were given to him without going into that whether that candidate can win or not. The tickets cannot be given on the recommendation of the senior leaders. The tickets should be given from the grassroots feedback. On the other side, if you see BJP, there were many tickets of senior leaders were cut. There was resentment on the ground, but that's fine. They ensured that crisis management is also done. They ensured that they supported the new candidates. That narrative is very important. See, winning after 2 terms is not a simple thing. Riding on anti-incumbency, you tell me which was the last Congress government which can repeat that term. So there is a huge difference here. There was an issue with narrative. They were talking about the national issues. If they were talking about Jawan, Kisan, what happened? And Mahila also. All the 3 narratives failed. Because on the ground situation was different. Haryana is a different state. It is a Chhatris Biradari state. They were doing Jat politics. They were assuming that Jats will vote for Congress. No. Even in Rohtak, BJP is doing better. Because every seat has a different kind of samikaran or the calculations on ground, which BJP understands very well. And never say the attitude of BJP. I must congratulate all BJP workers that till last moment they kept on fighting. The narrative was created at Delhi and High Command that Congress is winning this. No. They ensured that they worked on ground, the candidates worked on ground, the leaders worked on ground, the Karyakartas worked on ground, ensured what are the issues of people, went to people door to door, what was the work done by the last government. And I must congratulate Mr. Naib Saini. He was the warrior who kept on fighting. He ensured that in 6 months, whatever time he had, he ensured that each and every constituency visited. He ensured the issues which were on ground related to Agnivir or the issues on the ground related to farmers. He ensured that to resolve those issues. And I think this is the big win for BJP. The divide and rule politics of Congress party has completely failed because they are not able to read the ground feedback
Suddenly
of
the BJP
Haryana.
has found its voice and they're sounding charged up. So far, whether they were pundits leaning towards the BJP or netas, they weren't sounding very enthusiastic. Now the mojo is back.
Moshbi Singh with Jairam Ramesh. Let's listen in.
ये दबाव है ना, सरकार की ओर से एक दबाव बनाया जा रहा है।
पर इससे क्या फर्क पड़ेगा? आपको लगता है कि प्रशासन दबाव में आएगा? और क्या आप लोग ने कुछ हिदायत दी है स्टेट यूनिट को?
हम उम्मीद करते हैं कि ईसीआई इस पर हस्तक्षेप करेगी और जो अप टू डेट रुझान है, जो 11 राउंड हो चुके हैं, जो नतीजा आ चुका है, उसको तो निकाले। वो चौथे या 5वें राउंड पर अटके पड़े हुए हैं।
और क्या राज्य यूनिट से बात हुई है आपकी कि वहाँ पे जो उम्मीदवार है वो मौके पर?
हमने ईसीआई से सवाल किया है, ईसीआई को जवाब देना चाहिए।
जी। हम अपने सारे काउंटिंग एजेंट्स को भी आह्वान कर रहे हैं कि आप डटे रहिएगा 4 बजे तक, क्योंकि आप पर ये दबाव डालने की कोशिश की जा रही है कि आप हताश होकर निकल जाएं। किसी को हताश होने की जरूरत नहीं है। हम लड़ेंगे आपकी लड़ाई यहाँ चुनाव आयोग से और आप वहाँ डटे रहिएगा।
तो देखिए, यहाँ पे आज तक भी लगातार जो आंकड़े हैं वो दिखाए जा रहे हैं और यहाँ पे जयराम रमेश और पवन खेरा, चित्रा और अंजना यही बता रहे हैं कि आज तक में भी जो आंकड़े आ रहे हैं वो ईसीआई की वेबसाइट से आ रहे हैं और वो काफी पीछे चल रहे हैं, जबकि 8 से 10-12 राउंड जो है ग्राउंड पर हो चुके हैं।
Well, it doesn't really make much of a difference because it may be slow. Even if this charge is true, it will ultimately get uploaded to try and make more sense of the charge that's being leveled and why. We're joined by the social media chief of the Congress party. Supriya Shrineth now joins us. Supriya ji, let's spend a moment trying to explain why you're so agitated about the uploading of data on the Election Commission website. You're saying that the EC is deliberately slowing the uploading down. They're not fiddling with the numbers. Even if this is true, you know, what really is the point that you're looking to make? The EC, of course, denies it, but what's the charge that you're making and why?
So before I answer your direct question on the charge, I do want to remind your viewers and everybody else that there were election results that are coming out from both Jammu and Kashmir and Haryana. In Jammu and Kashmir, the results are coming live after every round, and we are in a formidable position to form the government there. The BJP has been squarely rejected in Jammu and Kashmir. There is a strong message that the people of Jammu and Kashmir have delivered to the BJP and this country. As far as Haryana is concerned, and I will tell you why we are raising the point about data not being updated. The data that's being shown on the Election Commission website is after the 4th or the 5th round, and I can rattle off seat after seat where we are in leading position, where we're being shown to be trailing, whether it's Vinesh Phogad, whether it's Dan Singh, whether it's Aditya Surjewala, various seats, Mahendragarh, we are shown to be trailing those seats, whereas we are actually leading in those seats after 9th, 10th and 11th round, which is
in
why
Aditya Surjewala's case you are leading.
Ma'am, on the basis of...
But some of what you're saying is
Yeah, I
not
know,
correct.
that's
Aditya
what-
Surjewala is
so
leading
just
currently by
just about 15
8,200
minutes
votes.
back- No, what I'm saying is correct, Rahul. Rahul, what I'm saying is correct. Just about 15 minutes back, he was shown to be trailing. Now he's seen to be leading. Vinesh still shown to be trailing. The discussion that we are going to do over the next few minutes is going to happen on round 5, whereas round 12 is being counted. And which is where we have a problem. Please update the data real time. Like
No,
it's
how
done
are your
in
numbers
What are your
different?
numbers?
No,
From a
ma'am, if
difficult
you're-
What are your terrain,
No, what
you
are
can
your
update the
numbers?
data real
Ma'am,
time.
ma'am, if you are saying that we are actually in round 12 and we are showing round 5, what are your numbers? Are they any different to the
There
numbers
are
we are
at
showing on air?
least- There are at least, yes, absolutely, there are at least 8 to 9 seats where we are leading with a margin of over 4,000 votes. And we are seen
That
to be
still puts
trailing
the
those seats.
BJP
Mahendragarh
ahead,
is one
Ms.
example.
Srinate.
Julana is one example. Let's not...
But Ms. Srinate, even if you say you're leading...
Sorry?
One second, ma'am. If you're saying you're leading in 8 more seats, that still puts the BJP ahead. Because BJP is right now, as per the EC, at 50. You're 34.
No, it doesn't.
It go up from
No,
here,
it
it come
doesn't.
down from there.
No, it doesn't.
That's not right.
I am telling you
Even if it
about
comes
the
down,
8
40
seats
आ
where
जाएगा।
I am
40 हो जाएगा।
tracking.
8 बढ़ गया तो 50.
No, you're tracking, ma'am, but the
40
fact
Okay,
is...
just one second. To this, let's get a counter. Amit Malviya now joins us. Amit Malviya spars on social media and elsewhere with Supriya Shrinate. Jairam Ramesh, we heard from earlier, Amit Malviya. Now from Supriya Shrinate, they're alleging that the Election Commission, at the government's behest, deliberately slowing down the uploading of data from Haryana, which apparently isn't happening in Jammu and Kashmir. So, Mr. Malviya, if you can hear me, how do you respond to Jairam Ramesh, Supriya Shrinate and the Congress that say the EC is deliberately slowing, counting down, uploading of the numbers on the website? Can you hear us, sir? Okay, that phone got cut. Give me a moment. I'll try and patch it again. In the meanwhile, Mausmi Singh is with us. She's got Jairam Ramesh. Try and understand, Mausmi, what is the charge that they are making? Because even if it slows it down, ultimately, they will upload the right number. So even if that charge is true, what's the specific charge that's being made?
The Congress has a doubt on the election.
Right, Rahul. Now, we spoke to Jairam Ramesh and Pawan Kiran. They're right here with us. Let me tell our viewers that the Congress is planning to complain to the Election Commission. The complaint is being readied, and Pawan Khera is right here. And the question really prevails is that they can slow down the results, but still they won't be able to change the results. So what are you alleging?
They are trying to put pressure on the district administration, local administration by showing outdated trends, 4th, 5th round, whereas 11, 12 rounds have already been counted. So they are just trying to play a mind game with our workers, with our counting agents, and also with the local administration.
Now you're saying that there are almost 8 to 10 seats. Which are those seats you are saying that have not been updated?
An example of Vinesh Phogad. We had to point out, all our spokespersons then had to amplify that she's already leading by 5,000, 4,000 some votes. But on all channels, they were showing outdated trends that she's trailing. So this is just one seat. There are 8, 9 such seats where 12 rounds have already taken place. But ECI website is showing 5th or 6th round, and channels and reporters are depending only on the ECI website. Their own ground reporters are not also showing the 11th, 12th round.
Jairam sir, just wanted to ask you, what is the message?
All of them.
what is the, Pavan sir, what is the message that you're trying to give to your state units? And also, what is the complaint that you're going to take to the ECI? Who's going?
The complaint is already reached the ECI, asking them to update as per the latest rounds that have taken place, whether 11th or 12th. The message to our counting agents is very clear. Please do not leave your post. Count all the machines. Don't get disappointed. Don't get dejected. These are mind games being played by the BJP. We should not be a victim to that.
The Congress levelling this serious charge that the ECI is delaying the uploading of the current trends. I want to get a counter now from Amit Malviya, the IT cell chief of the Bharatiya Janata Party. We've got Supriya Shrineth live, Mr. Malviya. She, Jairam Ramesh, Pawan Khera alleging a big conspiracy that the Election Commission is slowing down the uploading of data on the website. How do you respond to this charge? Amit Malviya.
Rahul, let's discuss something more substantive and meaningful. The Congress has this habit of crying every time they lose. Earlier they would blame the EVM, now they're blaming the website. Why don't they look at their own rank and file? The factionalism, Rahul Gandhi's statement, hum arakshan hata denge, that is what has done them in. And the truth is that they must be graceful and accept that the people of Haryana have voted for a third historic time for the Bharatiya Janata Party on the back of the good work that the government has done while in power. The Congress has to accept that they are not the default option in the country anymore. The Overton window, as far as political discourse and people's political choices is concerned, has moved decisively post-2014. While I understand that in democracy, ebb and flow is par for the course, but the truth is today that the BJP is the party to beat. Prime Minister Modi is the tallest leader in the country. There is immense trust and faith that people have in him, and that's what reflects in the mandate. And I must point out, since I'm on your channel, I was watching your exit polls very keenly. I saw the kind of premature obituaries your anchor and your panelists were writing for the BJP. They almost predicted that we are going to lose all elections till Bihar. You know, my advice to all these people is, you have been hoping for a disastrous run for our leadership, for our party for the last several decades. If you stop imputing motives and stop professing what you wish and report what the people are saying, you probably will be more credible.
So what changed according to you, Amit Malviya? What changed? What did the pollsters, what did the pundits get wrong?
Well, first of all, the pollsters and pundits don't want to see what the people are saying. They report, they argue, they debate, they prophesize, they project what they wish the results to be. I put out a tweet on 29th September saying anybody who went to Haryana has come back saying that the Congress won't win more than 37 seats because of the kind of social engineering in the state, the kind of work that the government did. For example, there is 22.5% Dalit population in the state, of which about 14% is the DSC, the deprived scheduled caste. The deprived scheduled caste community, rallies after rallies, programs after programs, was pledging their support for the BJP. They constitute 14% of the state. Of the rest 8.5%, they voted for pretty much every party. The Dalits haven't forgotten the kind of regime that Bhupender Hooda led while in power. They did not forget that Rahul Gandhi went to America and said कि हम आरक्षण हटा देंगे. So all these things did them in. Secondly, you did not look at the polling percentage. The BJP in this election increased its vote share. Not just that, Haryana as a state polled 3.1% more than the Lok Sabha. It was pretty much the same as it did in 2019 assembly election. Nobody factored in that 3%, 3.1% increase. Who did they vote for? And lastly, after 10 years of stable governance of a government that would treat everybody equally, give jobs to youths, treat the Dalits properly, empower them, Nobody factored that in because everybody thought Congress is winning, Congress is winning.
But Mr. Malviya, on the contrary, with the figures that you're giving in, the Congress is actually doing better in the Dalit belt, and on the contrary, the BJP is actually doing better where the Jat belt is concerned.
You know, again, if you look at these trends, you have to see why it is the case, why they are winning and losing. A seat, whether we are trailing, who has voted which side, that is the crux. The problem is we all look at broad trends and make assumptions. You have to look at the underlying movement that is happening. If the BJP is doing well in Jat areas, as you are saying, it's probably because of the equations, because some faction or some social bloc has voted the other way. It's far more complex than just throwing off the numbers and, you know, saying or interpreting it one way or the other.
Supriya, do you concede that the Congress probably got overconfident and had factored in a probable victory, that you weren't willing to concede that there's a real prospect of the BJP coming back to power, which is why past noon the scoreline reads the BJP comfortably in position to form the next government, whereas the Congress is left wondering what went wrong in Haryana?
We'll talk again at 1:30, and all that has been said by the BJP spokesperson without a single intervention from any of you will be eating a humble pie. And I will tell you why. The numbers that are being discussed, all our discussion so far is based on round 4 of election counting. We are still not discussing round 11 or 12 that has happened, and the picture is fast turning there.
No, ma'am, I've checked that. Ma'am, just a minute. Ma'am, just a minute. I've checked that. Ma'am, I'll let you speak. No, but you must let me. No, I need to correct you. We've checked. These are based on about 10 rounds done.
No.
Let us speak.
Okay.
Go on, make your point, ma'am.
This is not how it's going to be. I barely speak for 30 seconds and all 3 of you come down on me. Please let me speak for 5 minutes. Like you allowed the Give me 2.5 minutes because that's all that you will concede. Let me
Okay,
put
go ahead. Go ahead,
session to
ma'am.
you.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
अरे आपने आपका काम बाकी दोनों ने कर दिया. चलिए, anyways. This picture is going to change by 1:30. Mark my words. The second thing I want to say is we are almost saying that J&K didn't happen. I mean, so much has been said about BJP and the great work that they've done. What went wrong in J&K? Why has J&K squarely rejected you and squarely rejected you vehemently because you went to town tom-tomming what you've done for Jammu and Kashmir? Why have they rejected you? What's gone wrong there? Mr. Modi has been rejected there. Mr. Modi has been rejected in Haryana. But you're not going to concede on those terms. You kept
why
saying
do you say
there
the
was
BJP
peace
has
in
been
the valley.
rejected in
The
Jammu and
reality is
Kashmir?
27
There are
terror
29
strikes in the last
seats.
100 days.
There are 29 seats. How do you say they've been rejected in Jammu and Kashmir?
But they have been rejected and we are at 51.
No,
And
we
we
are
are
at only 10.
You're with the national conference, but Amit Malviya respond to that because there was also a lot invested in Jammu and Kashmir, and the fact is the BJP has been blanked out in the valley. The fact is the independent strategy doesn't seem to have worked to the same extent in Jammu and Kashmir. Independents who could be supported by the BJP. Article 370 out, but the people of Jammu and Kashmir and particularly Kashmir Valley have stood with the NC Congress. So while you have every right to claim a major victory in Haryana, the opposition will claim a major victory in J&K.
Okay, so let's look at the J&K numbers. The National Conference Alliance, which is National Conference and the Congress put together, are leading in about 50 seats. Let me ask you a question. How many of these seats is actually the Congress? They are probably 9 seats right now in single digit. So it's a national conference performance that the Congress is leaning on. Therefore, my question is that under Rahul Gandhi's leadership, they are trailing in 8 out of 12 seats where he held the Yatra in Haryana, and in J&K they are just about ahead on 9 seats. So when you say NC plus, let's break it up. Let's look at how many NC seats, how many Congress seats. Secondly, the BJP contested in just about 19 seats in the Kashmir Valley, of which we were a serious player in about 2 seats. So for us, if we haven't done well, it is not for any other reason. It is because the BJP did not pursue the Kashmir electorate with that kind of ferocity, and everybody else, given the background, participated in this election, whether they're independents, whether it's Jamaat, whether it's Rashid Engineers Party, Altaf Bukhari or Sajjad Lone. Now come to the BJP's performance, which is predominantly in the Jammu region. We have won, or we are leading in 29 seats, which is better than our performance last time. What do you want from us? So naturally,
in Jammu, of course, there are more.
We must
your performance is better because there are. Sir, your performance is better, but there are also more seats now that there are in the valley. There were in Jammu, there were 37. It's now up to 43. So it's proportional. But the point is, therefore.
No, but let's get Supresh to respond to this charge.
Can I make a point, please?
No, 1 second.
37 saying 43,
Amit Malviya is making the charge
29.
that two out of every 3 seats where Rahul Gandhi's Bharat Jodo Yatra went, Supraji, Amit Malviya says the Congress is trailing in Haryana in 8 out of 12 assembly constituencies where Rahul Gandhi did his big Bharat Jodo Yatra. How do you respond to that?
No, I first want to respond to what was said on Jammu and Kashmir, and none of you had a counter question to this. The spokesperson of India's ruling party says we did not pursue the electorate in Kashmir. Why not? Are they not citizens of this country? You run away from Anantnag, Rajouri, Baramulla and Srinagar in Lok Sabha, and now the national spokesperson of the BJP comes here and says we did not pursue the voters in Kashmir. Why did you not? The reality is that Jammu Kashmir was reduced for the first time since independence. A state was stripped off its statehood, reduced to a union territory. They have subjugated you, they have rejected you. I don't understand how else do you read this verdict. The fact that the ruling party comes and says we did not pursue voters in a certain section of this country, why not? We pursue voters in every section of the country, whether we win or lose, because that's what political parties are meant to do. You can't say we don't pursue a certain electorate, but we pursue certain others. I think it's a very, very serious food for thought that has been said here. It's a very decisive and a very, very, rejection of the BJP. It's a very divisive thing to say, but I don't know, it didn't raise issues with any of you. The reality is that the BJP let loose people like Engineer Rashid, who weren't allowed to campaign for their own Lok Sabha elections, but were allowed to campaign for the Vidhan Sabha, and look where they ended up. So I do think that Jammu and Kashmir should also be discussed with as much fervor. Just because the BJP has been squarely rejected there, I don't think we can look the other way. But I do want to come back to Haryana.
Ma'am, just a minute. Ma'am,
I want to,
ma'am, would you accept?
And I maintain my position. These numbers will change.
You are saying the numbers will change, but will you accept? Will you accept if these numbers hold? Will you accept that if these numbers hold, it's a major setback or not? Haryana specifically.
These numbers won't hold, so why will I make silly assumptions? I'm not here to make silly assumptions. These numbers will change. And all of that has been said will be now looked at in a very different context. Both from the BJP, from your panelists and fellow panelists.
What's your number?
I do believe these numbers will change. I'm absolutely confident about that.
What's your number? What's your number? What are your...
I think we'll be in a comfortable position to form the government. We will be in a comfortable position to form the government with majority. I can
Amit Malviya, what impact do you think BJP winning Haryana will have on the assembly elections of Maharashtra, Jharkhand, Delhi and Bihar? Does this give your party extra confidence, a spring in your step as you hit the next big Maharashtra elections?
Look, Rahul, I am not going to be foolish like your other panelists and anchors who wrote our obituary during the exit poll. Let me just say it, every election is a different election. Every election is a new election. The BJP fights with all its resources. We have a great inroads in the society. We reach out to people. And of course, if you talk about sentiment, this will carry on to Maharashtra and Jharkhand, which we were anyway confident of doing very well and winning on our own merit. Delhi, Bihar is too far. I mean, these are the kind of conversations urban Naxals have in their drawing rooms. Imagine revolutions which never go beyond university campuses and come on television and give these theories. Those days are over. You should realize and be humble that the BJP is not going anywhere. The BJP has demonstrated this in Haryana. And let me tell you, for the benefit of your viewers, these numbers won't change because the seats on which BJP is leading, the margin is massive. Whereas the seats where the Congress is leading, the margins are very wafer thin. So if at all, these numbers change, the BJP's majority will increase, the Congress will further go down. And again, we need to ask ourselves how many seats did the Congress under Rahul Gandhi's leadership is leading or winning in Jammu and Kashmir, and it is in single digit.
Okay, Supriya Shrinit, do you concede that this verdict in Haryana changes the narrative or the mahal ahead of Maharashtra? Like Haryana, the Congress, if you speak to their leaders, whether it's in Mumbai or in Delhi, they'd make it seem as if it's a slam dunk. Maharashtra is ours. It's only a matter of time before the Mahayuti is voted out. Now that the BJP is won, do you think, would you accept publicly that Maharashtra then becomes much tougher than you would have thought till yesterday?
I want to say something on record and mark my words on this. In 2019 Haryana elections, Mr. Modi campaigned 18 rallies. This time he did only 4. I think the BJP will perhaps do a little better than we had expected. It's good to keep him out. I think that's the lesson that BJP wants to learn. People are quite tired of his jumlas. So I think that's one data that you might want to discuss. 18 versus 4. The BJP, I concede, will do a little better than we had expected. We were expecting them to really go down the drain on this one. But no, I do not think that Maharashtra or Jharkhand or Delhi is going to be what we are discussing. There is a wave of change. There is a certain issue. There are different issues in Maharashtra. It's an election which will be fought on issues that have impacted the people of Maharashtra. It will be fought on what the BJP and its two partners have done to Marathis. It will be done. It will
you change strategy though, ma'am?
On how infrastructure after infrastructure has collapsed in Maharashtra, those issues will be very different.
But Supriya ji, will you change? You see, the strategy seemed to be for Haryana, put all your eggs in the Hooda basket. And that clearly, if these numbers hold, has not worked. Therefore, will you all change strategy? The BJP was accused of hubris in the Lok Sabha. 400 par didn't work. You all were accused of Andhi, tsunami, wave, words that I used this morning because that was seen to be the mahal. Will hubris that the Congress may be suffered from in Haryana also be a wake-up call for you for Maharashtra and Jharkhand? No state can be taken for granted. No voter can be taken for granted.
Actually, I disagree with you. I don't think the strategy was to put all eggs in one basket. Our final figures will be a lot better. We will form the government and our final figures will tell you that the Chhattis Biradari stood with us. So no, I don't buy into that assumption. But yes, every election is fought on different issues with a different strategy, with a different mindset in place, and which is what will happen in Maharashtra,
you don't agree to the
in Delhi,
point.
in Bihar and everywhere else where elections
You don't agree that you took Haryana for granted, that you thought pollsters, pundits, everyone were going to get it right, and that's how you all went into Haryana. That's the mistake you made.
No election can ever be taken for granted. So I disagree with you. I absolutely disagree with you that we took it for granted. Elections are fought, elections are fought on issues. I still believe that the issues that we raised in Haryana are very, very relevant.
Okay. Now, Ms. Shrinate, you say
You're talking over me, I can't hear you.
Ms. Shrinate, you say that we are still speaking of data which is coming in from round 4. On the election website right now, the EC website, it's round 10. And these are the figures which are holding in round 10, Supriya Shrinate. So that would mean that the BJP after round 10 is ahead, because if you look at most constituencies, poll about 16 to 20 rounds where Haryana is concerned.
Exactly, you're saying 16 to 20 rounds have still to be counted. There are another 4-5 rounds to go.
No, ma'am, that means only 6 more.
I will say one thing, that the election result is not to... Let me just finish. Allow me to speak for more than 30 seconds on your show today. Thank you. I am very confident about... I will say one thing, that election results are not going the way we had expected. We had expected a thumping majority. We had expected that the BJP will be substantially reduced in numbers. That hasn't happened. I concede that. But will these results change from here on? 100% they will. I'm really certain about that.
Fact,
I do believe that our Karyakartas, I do believe our counting agents should stay on the tables and not desert.
We just heard from the Election Commission when this question was posed to them. Off record, they're saying that this is a completely false charge, that the numbers are being updated every 5 minutes and that there is no validity to the argument that the EC is somehow delaying the updating. It's saying it's an automatic process. There's nothing you can delay. Every 5 minutes the numbers are being updated. It's happened in the past, Mr. Malviya, that when numbers haven't gone the way of the opposition party, this charge has been leveled of EVMs being delayed, the system being fixed, the administration being bought over, the government being the government putting agencies under pressure, etc. So it's not new. Do you think this reverses a trend that we've seen post the 4th of June, where the argument that was being made in TV studios and elsewhere was somehow that brand Modi, brand BJP is in decline, it's only a matter of time before the BJP gets voted out? Do you think Haryana very loudly answers that narrative and smashes it apart?
Well, Rahul, I think we should not waste too much of time on Congress party. They are a Rondu party. Every time they lose, they start looking at excuses from EVM to slow website, manipulation, blah, 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 blah. Let me give you some interesting statistics. In Haryana, this is a pro-incumbency vote for the BJP. 9 out of 13 sitting ministers are leading. And of the 41 seats BJP won in 2019, we are leading on 28. This was one of the points that your panelists and other anchors who want to see the BJP's dooms were projecting, saying कि BJP को तो एंटी इनकम्बेंसी समझ में नहीं आती है. भाई काम करोगे तो प्रो इनकम्बेंसी वोट मिलेगा और वही मिल रहा है. तो आप लोग ये जो ख्वाब बनाते रहते हैं ना, योगेंद्र यादव एंड राजदीप सरदेसाई काइंड्स, जिनको बुला के आप प्रो इनकम्बेंसी, एंटी इनकम्बेंसी, ओबिचुरी ऑफ मोदी, बीजेपी लिखते रहते हो. राजदीप तो पिछले 23 सालों से ये ओबिचुरी लिख रहा है, लेकिन आज तक प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी पहले मुख्यमंत्री और अब प्रधानमंत्री बन गए और 10 साल हो गया है और 3rd मैंडेट में है. तो ऐसा है कि आप लोग पॉलिटिकल पंडितरी छोड़ दीजिए, जमीन पे जाइए, लोग क्या कह रहे हैं वो सुनिए. कांग्रेस की ह्यूब्रीज में आप आके कुछ भी चला देते हो. मैं सुन रहा था सुबह राजदीप
Just a minute, ma'am. Are you suffering from the same hubris? You see, in Lok Sabha you said 400 par, you got 240. Himachal Pradesh you lost, Karnataka you lost, which were anti-incumbency. No, just a minute, ma'am. Just a minute, ma'am. You won't talk of Jammu and Kashmir because you've lost that. The point is, all political parties, will they be a little bit more humble as pundits and pollsters? Yes, I suggested or predicted that the Congress would win Haryana. I got it wrong. I'm open enough to admit it. Would you also be a little bit more humble, or you believe that every election it's only the pundits and the pollsters who need to be targeted? Politicians are above it all.
अरे राजदीप, हम तो पॉलिटिकल पार्टी है, हम तो अपनी जीतने की बात कहेंगे. आप तो पॉलिटिकल एनालिस्ट और जर्नलिस्ट हो. आपके स्कीम ऑफ थिंग्स में हमेशा कांग्रेस क्यों जीत रही होती है? कर्नाटका का जब इलेक्शन आया था, पीपल वाचिंग टेलीविजन विल टेल यू यू वर एक्साइटेड. अरे सुनो तो भाई बात.
No, you must also listen to me. You see, there's no point making your usual jibes. I want to understand from you. I want to understand from you what you believe works in an election and what doesn't. It didn't work in the Lok Sabha. Even in Haryana, it was 5-5. It's changed in the Vidhan Sabha. Let's have a serious talk rather than personal jibes.
चलो ठीक है, serious talk. वैसे it's difficult to have a serious conversation with you, but I will make an attempt. In the Lok Sabha election, Rahul Gandhi, the Congress party and India Alliance went around lying that constitution बदल देंगे, आरक्षण हटा देंगे, लोगों को जाके फर्जी फॉर्म भराए कि 8,500 रुपया देंगे. ये सब किया उन्होंने. बाद में काट की हांडी बार बार तो नहीं चढ़ती. राहुल गांधी ने फिर अमेरिका में जाके बोला हम आरक्षण हटा देंगे. भाई आप हिंदुस्तान में कुछ बोलते हो, अमेरिका में जाके अंग्रेजी में गिटर पिटर बोलते हो कि हम आरक्षण हटा देंगे, और आपको लगता है दलित समाज को पता नहीं चलेगा कि आप आरक्षण हटा दोगे. ये आपकी मंशा है. भूपेंद्र हुड्डा ने दलितों पे कितने अत्याचार किए, आपने कितनी डिबेट करी उस विषय को लेकर, मुझे बताइए. भाई आप चाहते हो कि कांग्रेस सत्ता में रहे, जनता नहीं चाहती कांग्रेस सत्ता पे रहे. ये पूरा विषय का मूल है.
Just as Rahul Gandhi didn't tell the full truth about Samvidhan Khatre mein, sir, you're also being a little unfair. Rahul Gandhi never said, I will remove reservations. He said a day may come. We must be fair. You see, the problem is politicians tell half truths, which is a big problem at the moment. But yes, Supriya Shrinet, go ahead.
Listen.
No, let her respond now. Let her respond. She wants to respond to you. Go ahead.
Can I please come in?
उसी से बात करो, उसी से बात करते रहते हो। बीजेपी में तो कोई आपसे बात करता नहीं है। कांग्रेस वालों के व्हाट्सएप आते हैं, उसके आधार पे अब अपनी पॉलिटिक्स करते हो। करो।
अरे यादव, let her speak. Let her speak.
हमसे क्यों बात करनी है? भाई आप हारने वाली पार्टी को इतना समय दोगे तो उन्हीं से बात करो ना।
Mr. Malviya, your party has just pulled off a remarkable victory. In Haryana, winning for the third time is something which hasn't happened so far. This is a massive pro-incumbency wave. Let's try and spend some time trying to understand what happened and why. Because what we're seeing changes India's political narrative.
Can
and
I
as
come in to
no
speak,
matter
Rahul?
who says, just 1 second, I'm just trying to ensure that we keep this.
Given a chance to speak.
Supriya Shrinay, I promise I'm coming to you. I'm just trying to lay the outline under which we hope this conversation can happen. Let's try and lift the quality of the conversation, not lower the bar. But go ahead and please make your point. Supriya Shrinay.
Go ahead, Supriya Shrinay.
Make your point.
You know exactly who lowers the bar each time, whether it's your conclaves or your debates. So don't take me there and don't give us this bipartisan gyan. You need to give gyan to one political party and you know who that political party is. The reality is that जीतने और हारने की बात हो रही है। जम्मू कश्मीर पे क्यों सांप सूंघ जा रहा है भाई? जम्मू कश्मीर की भी चर्चा कीजिए। जम्मू कश्मीर पे बीजेपी कुछ नहीं कहना चाहती है। आप कश्मीर में वोटर्स को परस्यू ही नहीं कर रहे हैं। आप वहां ना लोकसभा इलेक्शन लड़ने लायक है, ना आप वहां पे विधानसभा जीत रहे हैं। आपने एक राज्य को यूनियन टेरिटरी बना दिया, उसने आपको जमकर जवाब दिया है। आप बोलने लायक नहीं है। प्रोपोर्शनेटली सीट बढ़ाने के बावजूद आप लूज कर रहे हैं वहां पर। और मैं यहां पर 2-4 चीजें बोलना चाहती हूं। आपके आधे सच और पूरे झूठ का नतीजा भी देश ने देखा है। 400 पार का नारा दिया, 240 पर आकर अटक गए, बैसाखियों के सहारे। आपके लोगों ने संविधान बदलने की बात करी थी, चाहे वो आपकी सांसद हो, चाहे आपके मंत्री हो, वो लगातार संविधान बदलने की बात कर रहे थे। आप लोगों ने लैटरल एंट्री करी और उस पर यू टर्न लेना पड़ा क्योंकि उस पर आप आरक्षण को ताक पे रख रहे थे। आपने शिक्षक घोटाला किया यूपी में, जहां पर आप आरक्षण को खत्म करके ओबीसी को आपने आरक्षण नहीं दिया था। कोर्ट ने उस पर फिर अपना वक्तव्य सुनाया। संविधान का जब जब खतरा होगा, हम संविधान को बचाएंगे। और यह सच है कि संविधान को एक ही पार्टी से, एक ही लोगों से खतरा है और वो भारतीय जनता पार्टी है, जो कि आरक्षण को दलितों, आदिवासियों और पिछड़ों के खिलाफ है। दलितों के बारे में
because the Congress has made grave charges where the Election Commission is concerned.
क्यों हार रहे हैं भाई?
1 second. Supriya Shrinay, the Congress has made very grave charges where the Election Commission is concerned. Let's put out the real-time data that the Election Commission has been putting out. We're going to just play that out for our viewers because the Congress viewers has said that the EC is holding back real-time data where the seats are being updated as per the 4th or the 6th round. This is the charge that is made, Supriya Shrinay, by your own party, and that the current update in terms of the 11th or the 12th round show a very different picture. This is the charge made by the Congress. What we are going to do is, for our viewers who are joining us, we're going to put that data out, the real-time data of what the Election Commission is putting out when it comes down to Haryana. And right now, Supriya Shrinay, 10 rounds have been counted. 10 rounds have been counted. About 6 to 8 rounds are left in respective constituencies. And if you look at the data, which we will be putting out shortly, you will see that the EC is really not far behind from the numbers that are being projected right now.
So on different seats, it's different rounds of
Preeti
counting.
Chaudhary, I joined you at 11.
Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead, ma'am.
I joined this channel at 11:57. At 11:57, we were discussing, our discussion was based on what was happening after the 4th or the 5th round. It is my duty as a panelist to come and say that our discussion needs to move away from those numbers because those numbers are telling a different story. Every channel was making Vinesh Phogat lose. The reality was that she was winning by about 4,500 votes. She was leading by 4,500 votes. It's my job to say things as I see them. If 16 rounds of counting have happened and we are seeing only 10, we would like to see more. What is wrong in saying that?
Okay, Mr. Shrinay, let me now rephrase this.
Vote percentage and the seats that we are leading in vis-a-vis the BJP.
Fair point. Let me now rephrase. Let me now rephrase the question that I asked you. This is the data, we are putting it out there. This is the data that the Congress has challenged. And if you look at it right now, post round 10, it stands at 48 for the Bharatiya Janata Party and 36 for the INC. Now does the Congress admit that somewhere down the line, the trend is settling in? It's not going to really move too far from what is being projected.
No, I think I do think that the trend can change, and I'll tell you why. Because we've had a similar experience in Bihar. The election was called out at 12. The election was called, BJP celebrated prematurely, and then the trend completely reversed. So I do believe, let the last vote be counted, and the last vote counted will present a very different picture. I don't want to jump the gun, because what we are hearing from the ground, what we are hearing from our polling on our counting agents is a very different picture. I would like to believe that picture. I am willing to hold my horses before I give you a final verdict on this one.
Mr. Malviya, let's spend a moment on Jammu and Kashmir, because in Jammu and Kashmir, it's very clear that this experiment of independent, smaller parties, Apni Dal, People's Conference, the BJP's grand plan was that you do well in Jammu, which you have, and that there will be lots of independent, smaller parties with whom you'll be able to ally, which is how the NC and the Congress won't come to power. So while you lived up to your end of the bargain, the other end of the bargain, which was banking on independence, Apni Party, Engineer Rashid, the Jamaat candidate splitting the anti-NC vote, that hasn't happened. So do you concede that that didn't go as per script?
Rahul, I'll just make 2 quick points. First, that the BJP is leading on about 29-30 seats, which is more than what it won last time. Secondly, for the benefit of the Congress, not one Hindu MLA from the Congress is leading in the Jammu region. The only person, Raman Bhalla, who was leading, is now trailing. The Congress party is the new Muslim League in this country. I want to make that point very emphatically. Point number 2. Why do you keep saying that the strategy of Engineer Rashid, Jamaat, this, that and other is part of the BJP's strategy to fragment vote? I want to tell you something. Post abrogation of Article 370, we ensured that the Panchayat elections were conducted in Kashmir after several decades. That has thrown up a completely new leadership in the Kashmir Valley, and a lot of them who were otherwise separatists in their earlier avatars have today taken the route of participating in a democratic exercise. I think that is a big victory post 370 abrogation, and that was the purpose of removing 370, so that more and more people in the Kashmir Valley can be mainstreamed and aligned, including those who were otherwise separatists in their worldview. I think the single biggest achievement of the BJP in the Jammu and Kashmir election is making the polity in Kashmir far more democratic. I take pride in that fact, and please stop saying that the independents and the smaller parties were part of the BJP strategy, because it is to their credit that they chose to go through the democratic path and not stay away from it as they had been in the last 3 decades.
Is statehood assured now? Is statehood assured, Amit Malviya? Because if there is no BJP government, if BJP is not there in government in Jammu and Kashmir,
can I make a
will
point,
the government
please?
still, no ma'am, just a minute. Will the government still live up to, Modi government live up to its commitment that statehood will be restored after the elections?
राजदीप, जब प्रधानमंत्री जी ने, गृह मंत्री जी ने पार्लियामेंट में एक बयान दे दिया है, तो उसके बाद मेरा उस पे कोई टिप्पणी करना उचित है क्या? सवाल पूछने से पहले सोचा तो करो क्या पूछ रहे हो?
No. So you're saying, you're giving a guarantee that you're giving a guarantee that statehood will now be restored. Am I correct?
I mean, you are a journalist of so many years. सवाल तो ठीक पूछो. ये टेलीविजन डिबेट का सवाल है क्या? ये पार्लियामेंट का जवाब देना चाहिए और प्रधानमंत्री ने जवाब देना चाहिए.
It's a very important question. It was a vital question in the campaign.
Can I come in?
Is statehood going to be restored? Give me a straight answer.
Again, listen, you first wait for the government formation in J&K. And after that, you will hear it from the leadership. What is the problem? Why are you in such a hurry? आपको पसंद नहीं है कि पत्थरबाजी कम हो गई है, आपको अच्छा नहीं लग रहा है कि चोर जाने लग गए हैं, आपको अच्छा नहीं लग रहा है कि आपको अच्छा नहीं लग रहा है कि वहाँ पे अमन है.
One big strategy. You see, first of all, let's see, it's not a defeat of BJP. BJP has done well in Jammu and Kashmir. The big thing is that the efforts to convert a demographic majority into a political minority has failed. Let's understand that, because that was the whole game plan. That you have this demographic majority of Muslims, you want to convert them into a political minority. That clearly is what has led to this vote pelting in the valley, one-sided. Nobody thought INC would do 52. And consider the fact...
Actually, Engineer Rashid, to be fair to him, told me the other day that they'll get 50.
Now, in addition to this, there are a few independents. I can think of Shopian, for instance, which is an NC rebel who's kind of going to come back. So this will even go further. So BJP has protected its turf and in the process put the state onto a road which is going to be very, very difficult. Because this, as I said in the beginning, this is the beginning of the bifurcation debate that will happen. Because what is it that will bind Jammu and Kashmir today now? Earlier it was about
maybe a deputy chief minister from Jammu and a chief...
You know, that's now been done in 2014, that's always been there. Even in when Mufti Saab formed the government, even prior to that, Congress, there was a deputy CM from Jammu. That's not going to... what is going to connect the civil society of Kashmir with the civil society of Jammu? Because at the end of the day, that's the key point. Plus, when you look at it from that perspective, the abrogation of 370, is this a referendum on 370 then? Is the BJP willing now to take the position that this
Let's
is a
ask
referendum?
Mr. Malviya that
That's
question.
what can we ask?
Mr. Malviya, Hasib Drabu asks whether you see this as a referendum on Article 370. 52 for the NC Congress, 27 for the BJP. Can this politically be seen as a referendum on Article 370?
Of course, it is not a referendum on Article 370, and I think we should stop going down that path. Article 370 has now been consigned to history. It will never come back. Kashmir will move on the path of development. Please, let's understand the context of Jammu and Kashmir, the demography of Kashmir in particular, the history of the last 3 decades in particular, and the unrest that has been there even before that. It's a different territory, and so we will all be advised to exercise restraint and caution. We have to understand that we are trying to bring Kashmir out of a very tumultuous phase. Last 5 years have been extremely peaceful. They have been focused on development, and that journey will continue for the J&K as a whole. But to make these arguments in binaries actually undermines the people, and I'm again saying this, Rahul, the way people who were otherwise seen as separatists have participated in this election is the big win for the decision to abrogate 370. Let me take you down history. 1987, when the Congress and the NC together rigged election in Kashmir, that led to militancy, that led to a faction of the Kashmir polity taking up arms. I am glad today that phase is behind us. Well, NC may have won as many seats that they have won.
Can I please
Good
come
for
in?
them. They will have to work with the central government to ensure that development in J&K continues, because for far too long, some of these parties, particularly the NC and PDP, have held Kashmir to ransom. And next point is that it's not one-way street. NC might have won, but the PDP has lost significantly, including Iltija Mufti, the young dynast who made a debut, has lost her election. So clearly there are no binaries here. It's a very fluid situation, and we'll all be advised to remain cautious and handle and comment on it responsibly.
So I think it's very clear, Rahul. When I look at the numbers, Hasib, I think it's a big day for the NC Congress, particularly for the NC. Remember in 2014, the NC almost got wiped out. Omar Abdullah lost the last election, 2024 Lok Sabha. So it's a big day for the NC in particular, not so much for the Congress, but the NC. I think we have to acknowledge that. It's a big day for the BJP in Haryana. I think the two big winners today are the National Conference in Kashmir and the BJP in Haryana. I think the big loser, to my mind, is the Congress party.
Can I make a point,
because,
please?
Ma'am, you can, but allow me to also say a little bit. I think, would you agree with my submission that NC is the big winner in Jammu and Kashmir, BJP is the big winner in Haryana, and the Congress is the big loser? Yeah, you get the rebuttal to that. You don't agree with me?
Fair. Yeah. First, allow me a rebuttal, because you should have ideally come to me before giving your 2 bits of political gyan. See the reality of what the BJP does.
I get hit by both sides.
When they lose J&K, the election is reduced to Hindu and Muslim. Just see how it happens. When they lose J&K, the election is reduced to Hindu and Muslim. But because इन्होंने Muslim League की बात कर ली, तो मैं इतिहास याद दिला देती हूँ. आपकी सरकार थी जब भारत छोड़ो आंदोलन महात्मा गांधी चला रहे थे, आप मुस्लिम लीग के साथ नॉर्थ वेस्ट फ्रंटियर प्रोविंस, सिंध और बंगाल में मिलकर सरकार चला रहे थे और उस आंदोलन का दमन करने के तरीके चिट्ठी लिखकर बता रहे थे। आपके लोग जाकर जिन्ना की मजार पे सर झुका रहे थे पाकिस्तान पे। तो मुस्लिम लीग पर मेरा मुंह मत खुलवाइएगा, कौन इस देश की मुस्लिम लीग है। यहां पर बोला गया tumultuous phase, we are out of it. You know, you can use all those fancy words, but the reality is in the last 110 days, there have been 26 terror attacks in the valley. 21 of our brave hearts have died. You don't have an answer for that. The real binary is that you let people like Rashid Engineer come out and campaign for other elections. उनको अपने इलेक्शन में आने की परमिशन नहीं थी. The reality also is इतना पीस आपने वैली में और हर जगह कर दिया, तो अनंतनाग, राजौरी, बारामूला और श्रीनगर से चुनाव लड़ने से भाग क्यों गए थे? आपकी चित और आपकी पट नहीं हो सकती ना। अगर आप जम्मू कश्मीर हार रहे हैं तो आप हिंदू मुसलमान नहीं कर सकते हैं, और अगर आप कहीं बीच जीतेंगे तो आप डेवलपमेंट की बात करने लगिए। मेरा अपना मानना है इलेक्शंस कॉजेस पे लड़े जाते हैं। हमने अपने घटक दल के साथ लड़ा, हमारे घटक दल वो चुनाव जीत रहा है और बीजेपी वो चुनाव हार रही है। दैट्स द बाइनरी फॉर मी। द बाइनरी फॉर मी इज दैट द बीजेपी हैज फेल्ड India's northernmost state and failed them substantially, and which is why they have been decisively rejected. I use the word rejected with a lot of responsibility.
No, ma'am, you make a strong point there. It would have helped if it would have helped if you would show the same willingness to accept that somewhere your Haryana strategy went wrong. You know, that would be also an acceptance, because y'all are holding on to this belief that EC is slowing down the numbers. If anything, the numbers, you told us, if anything, the numbers are now getting consolidated. Actually, even in vote share now, y'all are both level, 41% each. So the BJP has actually even gone up in vote share.
The numbers haven't changed for the past 40 minutes now.
So I do believe that Haryana hasn't turned out the way we would want to, but do I believe this is what the final tally will be? No. I have conceded first that Haryana should have been a lot better for us. I mean, what do you want me to say? But I am not going to turn a blind eye and pretend Jammu Kashmir results are not coming just because the BJP is losing there.
Let's spend a moment looking at what can change in Haryana beyond where we are. So in Haryana, there are only 3 seats where the margin is less than 500 votes. The Congress leads on 2 of those, the BJP leads on 1. At this moment, in Haryana, there are only 6 seats where the margin is less than 1,000 votes. Congress leads on 4, BJP leads on 1. So if at all, if there are such 6 seats, there could be 3-3. So it could be 52 for the BJP potentially. That's where the BJP can go to, and Congress can potentially go up to 40. So the chances of Haryana now turning, you know, I know there are lots, many in the Congress who seem to believe that the election may turn. That now looks impossible. Very, very difficult. Statistically, it is very difficult to achieve. There can be one odd minor change, but this election cannot now turn. Supriya Shrineth, this happened in Chhattisgarh as well. The Congress was so convinced in its own bubble before counting day that you were winning Chhattisgarh. There is a trend here. In a direct Congress versus BJP assembly election, again in Raipur, you were convinced you were winning till finally you were not, which is why it caught you so much by surprise and you weren't able to come to terms with the verdict the people of Chhattisgarh had delivered. The same seems to have happened in Haryana.
And if I may add to what you said, Rahul, in Karnataka, where they bested the Congress, the point we made earlier, Siddharamaiah and Shiv Kumar worked together. Here, there was no concept of collective leadership. Do you concede, Supriya Shrineth, therefore Congress has made mistakes in Haryana? Overconfidence and factional fights.
No, I disagree with both of those assumptions, and I'll tell you why. When you give me, when you lay out your political points on Haryana, I would lay out the similar points in Himachal, in Karnataka and in Telangana. Karnataka and Himachal, we were face to face with the BJP. We were face to face with the B team of the BJP and BRS, and see how 20% vote share rise happened and we formed the government. So no, I disagree with all of those. Does every election teach us a lesson? Of course. Does every election give us an opportunity to improve? Of course it does. Have we learnt our lessons from Haryana? If these numbers stay and even if our tally improves from here on, yes, of course. I mean, every political party must learn. I am not so drunk on my own coolant like the BJP is that they have nothing to learn and they have sealed the deal everywhere and they have no lessons to learn from Jammu and Kashmir. Unlike them, I do believe, yes, we have a lesson to learn. But I also would say that the elections are fought till the last vote is counted. And for me, this election is not over yet. Just like the election was not over for the BJP in Karnataka and in Himachal till the last vote was counted and till our Chief Minister was sworn in. It's quite as simple as that.
You know, in a way, I think would you all agree that the Congress, and the big difference between Congress and BJP, we heard it, is micromanagement. You know, the BJP was 5-5 with the Congress in Haryana, 44 to 42 in terms of assembly segments. The BJP went back to the drawing board seemingly, focused seat by seat, got the likes of Dharmendra Pradhan deeply involved in the campaign. The Congress had Deepak Babaria, but eventually Ajay Makan and Bhupinder Singh Hooda had their way in seat selection. They seemed to believe it was a done deal. They got carried away by pundits and pollsters. Is that the big difference, you think, between BJP and Congress as party organizations? That organizationally, the BJP is still way ahead of the Congress. Would you agree? I mean, across any of you, is there no comparison in organizational terms?
See, I think in spite of this absolutely thumping win for the BJP, there are still learnings around, you know, communication, improving it, narrative, etc.
For the BJP?
For the BJP, 100%. In spite of this win, you know, there were a lot of ground planning that was done, but on the top, that the narrative that they could very well control and not let it slip away into the Congress, they could have still worked on that and they can still improve that. There is always area to work on. But I think what has happened is this very, very quiet reverse polarization, which is clear from the data. You know, the Twitter comments are like, "Jaat ne dhoka de diya Bhupinder Hooda ko." The Jaat of the Jats, they did not come in and support Bhupinder Hooda the way he would have expected them to. And look at all the other Paintis Biradris, perhaps they thought that this, you know, once the Jat domination happens, that sense of fear that comes in, slowly and gradually it was polarizing. It was not something which was over the top, which could be captured by your pollsters. It couldn't be captured, but I think the underbelly of Haryana has remained intact and therefore remains intact for the next 5 years as well. 15 years of one rule. This has become a bastion for BJP now. Which other state can claim it to be?
With the exception that, as Lok Sabha showed, it is still a competitive state compared to, let's say, a Madhya Pradesh or a Gujarat, which are completely BJP fortresses. I come back to it. Is the BJP's organization where they score, particularly in competitive local elections? They localized Haryana. They made it a local fight, seat by seat fight.
See, I think it's about doing a proper SWOT analysis. They did acknowledge the fact that they were on the back foot after the Lok Sabha results. And then they have taken solutions to make up for that. They were losing on the media narrative, but what is also happening is that the disadvantaged sections of the society are not voluble, do not come out and express their opinion to pollsters or journalists whenever we are going on the ground or pollsters are going on the ground. And we tend to get carried away by the sentiment of the dominant community. That's number one. Number two, there is always a discontent against the dominant community or the anger. This Jat Dalit Muslim combination was always a brittle combination because there is a history of violence between Jats and Dalits. So this is micromanagement. They did it behind the doors. They were not saying that we are going to win this election. And this is how micromanagement
Even Guru Ram Rahim, bring him out if he can bring you, Gurmeet Ram Rahim, if he can bring you those 5-10,000 additional votes.
I'll just add to what Amitabh was saying. I think perhaps the party understood what it needs to do. But Haryana is going to signal something very interesting for the BJP. Till today morning, everyone basically said PM Modi wasn't campaigning in Haryana, and perhaps BJP knew that they might be losing, and so it was just to sort of like ward off PM Modi. Now, Haryana victory shows that if BJP's central leadership wasn't involved and still they can manage to win elections, this is going to be a new phase of BJP politics where state units can sort of like pull victories on their own with support of central leadership.
No, but Amit Shah was very deeply involved in the micromanagement of the campaign, taking stock every day about what's happening.
Rahul, I'm basically, the point I'm making, a lot of BJP victories were basically just given to Modi magic alone or Modi factor alone. Now this is not to say that Modi magic is not there. This is saying that with that limitation, that was also a limiting factor, there is now something new that the state unit, after 2 terms of anti-incumbency, can turn around and win an election.
The machine can make you win.
Yes.
You know, I think that's the big difference. You know, what is this machine at the end? You know, we use the word machine very loosely. Machine means what? It means local level coalitions. It means the ability to choose candidates based purely on their merit, not because Sifarish comes in from Delhi. You know, one person who will be smiling today, who we haven't mentioned at all, and who we were critical, is Manohar Lal Khattar. Because Manohar Lal Khattar was the general belief is a lot of the candidates were chosen by him. Even Naib Saini was his
the
choice.
meeting is happening as Dharmendra Pradhan, Biplab, they have all gone to his house.
So Manohar Lal Khattar,
so his primacy is maintained.
Look at it. Till about a day two ago, we were sort of holding him responsible for everything that had gone wrong in Haryana. Today, he can well claim he got the seat distribution right, got his caste arithmetic right. But machine Rahul means a mix of resources. It means putting the resources in the right place. It means putting the right people in the right place. Now, this is where I think... This is where the Congress, I don't think, can match the BJP still at local level. It needed a wave. We thought there was a wave. That's why the Congress was winning as a default option. But when it becomes competitive, we're seeing the BJP still sticks
also
ahead.
keep in mind that the scheme of women...
The counting is stuck and that EC is not uploading its data. I want to go across to Preeti Chowdhury, who's on a big plasma screen. She'll show you the EC website, which gives us a sense of how many rounds of counting have actually been updated on the Election Commission website. Preeti, take it away.
Rahul, so, the charge by the Congress is that the EC is not updating real-time data. Now, I've gone through a number of seats, and what it looks like is for certain seats, you're already in round 10 or even to round 12. But on certain seats, it is a little sluggish where you're still reporting round 6 or round 7. Let's just randomly pick a few seats and take a look as to where the EC stands in terms of rounds and numbers. In Haryana, the constituencies are small comparatively to bigger states, where a difference of 500,000 votes is huge. To give our viewers perspective, 2019, the Congress lost from the BJP by the virtue of just less than 5,000 votes. So each constituency, even a marginal shift of votes will matter. So let's take a look. Let's just go right on top. Adampur, that is Bhavya Bishnoi's constituency. He's on a BJP ticket, and right now the data that has been uploaded, 7 rounds have been uploaded. There are 13 rounds that are going to take place on this particular constituency. Each round in Haryana, constituency by constituency, has about 5 to 15,000 votes. 7 rounds data has been updated, and on those 7 rounds, Bhavya Bishnoi is leading with 37,234 votes. However, the closest competitor from the Congress, Chandra Prakash, is trailing by just about 4,000 votes. However, there are still nearly double the rounds left where the constituency of Adampur is concerned. Let's quickly cut across, turn around and go to a different constituency. Randomly picking, let's pick Ateli. Ateli is where Rao Indrajit's daughter, Aditi Rao, is standing, and there are 18 rounds, Rahul, and our viewers there. 18 rounds that are going to take place on the counting of this constituency. Just about 8 rounds have happened. Right now, from the BSP is leading Atar Lal from 28,544 votes is on which he's leading. Of course, the BSP is in alliance with the INLD. Trailing is Aarti Singh Rao, Rao Indrajit's daughter, by a margin of 4,000 votes. However, there are still 10 rounds left. That means more than double the vote that has already been counted is yet to be counted. Let's quickly, turn around, go to another constituency and take a quick look. Let's move to the other constituency right now. All right, let's quickly cut across and let me look at Bahadurgarh, because this was an area where the Hoodas really tried to consolidate. They were hoping to get 1 or 2 seats, but an independent is leading on this seat. So out of 17 rounds is supposed to be counted on this particular constituency. 17 rounds, just 8 have been counted. After 8 of 17 rounds, an independent is leading with 33,110 votes. The Congress candidate, of course, this is a huge drop, and it will look that the INC, despite even if the next 8 rounds are calculated, will lose, because the INC, the Congress is trailing from over 17,000 votes. But just to give you a picture, out of 17 rounds, just 8 have been counted. Let's quickly turn around and get you another constituency there. Let's see and move into the Jat belt that we are talking about. Let me look at Julana. Vinesh Fogart's seat is what the Congress has been talking of. this is a seat which has been updated the maximum right now. Possibly pressure or whichever way we look at it, 15 rounds will be counted and now it's in its final breath. 13 rounds have been counted after 15 rounds. Vinesh Fogart is leading with 57,998 votes. Trailing is Bharatiya Janata Party's Yogesh Kumar by 5,230 votes. So this might be stabilizing where Vinesh's seat is concerned. 2 rounds just left to be counted, but more or less, let's quickly cut across back and our viewers can get a sense. And let's randomly pick, because, you know, a seat, let's try and pick Bhavani Kheda. It's a reserved seat where the Dalit vote really matters. And Pradeep Narwal, blue-eyed boy of the Gandhis from there, trailing by 3,963 votes on the BJP is leading here. 17 rounds are left on this particular seat. 11 rounds have been counted. There are still six rounds left, and the Congress candidate is trailing by about a little less than 4,000 votes. So, you know, I was talking to somebody, they are saying they have hope that once the other rounds get counted, Pradeep Narwal could come out. Let's randomly pick again. You know, I'm trying to steer clear of the big ticket seats to get our viewers an understanding the charge that the Congress seems to be making. But let's look at Gannor. Now the seat of Gannor, 16 rounds are to take place on this seat. 10 have been counted, 6 are still left. Leading right now is independent Devendra Kadian. Trailing by 22,000 votes is Kuldeep Sharma. So even though the next 6 rounds will be counted, it doesn't seem it's going to really change much. Let's get you a last final look at another seat, because what we are seeming to understand right now, let's look at Tosham. There you have it.
According to the Congress, Preeti, if you can check.
Yeah, let's look at this. 17 rounds are to be counted because this is a big ticket seat for both BJP and Congress. 17 rounds have been are to be counted. 10 have been counted till now. Shruti Chaudhary leading with 48,157 seats. Her cousin Anirudh Chaudhary trailing by about 9,000 seats. But still right now, 7 rounds are to be counted where Tosham is concerned. So I'm going to throw it back to the studio. A basic assumption, Rajdeep and Rahul. Most of the seats right now are hovering between 7 and 10 rounds, while at least 10 to 7 rounds in most of the constituencies still left.
Fact is, I just spoke to someone who was involved in the Congress strategy, and what they've obviously been taken by shock. But what they seem to suggest, interestingly, is that there were a lot of rebels on both sides. The Congress rebels, at least 10 of them, as of now, are getting more votes than the difference between victory and defeat, which again suggests the micro-level management. If you have rebels, how do you get them to sit down?
Also be gracious in defeat.
I don't agree with this analysis. BJP too had rebels. See,
but their rebels don't seem to be making the same impact is what they're suggesting.
No. See, again,
this is their data.
They are trying to find some ghost in the dark just to throw the darts at.
You know, the likes of Sunil, Sunil Kanogolu was in charge of their campaign, and Sunil was, feted after Telangana and Karnataka. And to some extent, he didn't get really involved in Lok Sabha, but people said, Sunil has played a role. Now, he played the full role in Haryana. Questions will be asked. Where did he get his strategy? Everybody, I think, is looking for answers, because clearly when every pollster will have to give an explanation, including Yashwant. Everyone said that 50, 60, nobody said 35. So clearly, it's way off the mark. Pollsters have much to answer for. Pandits who went to the ground have much to answer for. I think what it shows is do not discount the last mile silent voter.
No, but it makes things so much more exciting. See, if there was one oracle who could give you the answer before votes were counted, then the election itself wouldn't be interesting. You'd have some tarot card reader or astrologer.
But so what do we do to exit polls?
Why not just exit polls? What do we do to election on my plate or jab bhi main
election on my plate without, we don't at least predict who's going to win how many seats.
Look at European elections, American elections. Over there, the precision of these pollsters is absolutely bang on. I think somehow...
What's gone wrong?
I think
But that's not true.
See, I'm
In
not making a
2016,
personal
American pollsters got it wrong.
but
No, but
people,
now,
people who do the calculation are not statisticians in India. That is the real problem. They are not.
No, but even the vote share, in this case,
Yes.
in this election, even the vote share, most people predicted
not the
a 4
samples.
to 5% edge for the Congress in vote share,
Basic,
which
I'm
is
telling you,
but it's
Rajdeep,
41-41.
I have led campaigns. I can tell you, most of these survey agencies, when you speak to them, they don't even know what a data normalization looks like. There are these hardcore statistics concepts which you need to constantly apply at a multivariate data. The problem is that none of these people actually do that, and proper, serious private sector investment has to go in to develop capacities and capabilities in the polling agencies.
Okay, let me tell you another excuse they're giving. Let me tell you another excuse they're giving. They're saying that we predicted 12 to 13% for others. Others have gone up to 19%. Okay. And that 6% has been taken away from the Congress. Now, why would all that 6% go from the Congress?
6% is not within the error margin.
It
is
is
way
not,
long.
way away.
If you're
Absolutely.
missing that, what
Rebel candidates is a valid point. See, Chitra Swara is leading in Ambala Kant, winning.
Right.
Rajesh
Against Anil Vij.
Yeah. Rajesh June is an INC rebel leading in Bahadurgarh.
Yes.
Sharda Rathore, Ballabgarh, INC rebel, second.
So this, first of all, this is not INC rebel, this is wrong ticket distribution.
That's
so
what
the
I'm
same
saying.
strategist whom you're talking about did not choose the right candidate based on the feedback. Or perhaps the Congress leadership put in a veto saying that I will give the tickets based on my likings.
Yes, that's.
So
I think the second happened. A lot of the second happened based on Mr. Because you put all your eggs in one basket. That person decided the seat distribution, and you went along with them. Yes, Rahul.
So I think, right before the nomination, we heard that as a master stroke. Basically, Congress promising tickets to 2-3 people, and at the last minute, only one got the symbol. So not allowing anyone to, stand as a rebel candidate. And so that looked like a very good game plan. I think rebels always play a role. But the kind of victory which BJP is getting, like 15 to 16 seats margin, cannot be alone explained by rebels. They might have
look
heard
at the
them.
approach. Look at the approach
I'll
of
tell you why rebels. You have
look at
6
the
rebels.
approach of Prime Minister Modi. Look at Himachal election. He himself, the Prime Minister of the country,
Was
used to
ringing
make
up.
calls to the rebel candidates. What was the attempt being made by the Congress party? So see, he's putting it, just finding sort of a target for this entire misery is not true, because you could have made the amends. You could have reached out. And
absolutely.
even in Telangana, they reached out to all possible potential rebels, and they ensured that no rebellion happens across several seats. So this is
it
exactly
comes down to
what
the
election
machine, the
management-
micromanagement, the
And
machine.
frankly, it's hard to come up with an explanation when the full results have yet not come in,
but
right? So
also-
any effort to basically, that we have an explanation of what happened in
Now, are
Haryana.
you saying full results? Are you saying the results can still change?
No, it's not going to change. See, our effort to with every
To get
single bit of
explanation.
information that we will get a right answer is a wrong
No,
exercise
but
to begin
what today
with.
smashes to smithereens is the idea that this is a secular decline for the BJP and for Brand Modi, and that it's only a matter of time. Rahul Gandhi just needs to show up in the ring in 2029, and it is now inevitable that he'll win. This whole hawabaji that it built, that Rahul ka time aa gaya, Modi ka time gaya, BJP is out, Congress is in. It shows you, boss, you just have a more equal contest. It may be 48 versus 36.
And Rahul, look at
But what you said just now will again be tested next month.
Yeah, exactly.
but
You see,
Rajdeep,
this
you
is
know-
the irony of Indian politics. Today what has happened? Jammu and Kashmir has shown that the Valley and Jammu remain relatively polarized. That's my sense, that the Valley has chosen one way, Jammu has chosen broadly the other, which again shows the limitations of what the center did in terms of reaching out. The people have not fully accepted
some
the downsizing.
experiments didn't work.
Some experiments didn't work. In Haryana, what it's shown, I think, is when you go into an election with this complete overconfidence, almost that, this is a done deal, anti-incumbency, sab keh rahe, you lose sight of the micromanagement that you need in a
Rajdeep,
local election.
it's not
The
about
BJP went back to the
This
drawing
was
board.
a negative election for the Bharatiya Janata Party. The X factor that has pulled this through are the independents in Haryana. You look at the difference in votes. Every seat, if you look at it, I've just gone through, the data put up by the EC. The independents have really played the spoiler
but who
in
are the
over
independents?
30 seats.
No, but the point
30
is,
seats.
the point is independents also come with your management of an election.
And you can't,
Suppose,
can't
the
win
BJP
an
has
election.
managed
See,
them.
Rebels.
The
all of that.
BJP is a very well-oiled election machine. The Congress can win if all hands are on board. If DK Shivkumar and Siddaramaiah genuinely fighting the same battle, then you have a hope of putting up a good fight. If Sachin Pilot and Ashok Gehlot are pulling in different directions, if Shailja, Surjewala on the one side and Hudas are pulling in different directions, you have no hope. You're up against the most finely oiled machine in the history of modern politics.
If the ticket distribution was wrong, so I think enough lobbying went in that I need to have enough supporters in the new assembly so that I can become the chief minister instead of worrying about the interest of the party. This is how the ticket distribution goes wrong.
Welcome back, Yashwant.
क्या हो गया सर ये?
क्या हो गया अभी क्यों परेशान हो रहे हो क्या हो रहा है अभी सारे रिजल्ट्स आ गए हैं क्या okay listen to me
what is your own numbers
you see the numbers are quite closer than what they are looking to you right now. There are at least a dozen odd seats with BJP is leading where margining is kind of touch and go in a way, less than a margin of one round of EVM counting.
No, I can pull that out for you.
You can pull that out. You can pull that out. There are multiple seats over there.
As we've sat there, I've had somebody who's messaged me from senior Huda's camp who's been looking at his numbers, and he's saying, wait for 1 hour, all of you here will talk a different story. I agree. Wishful thinking.
So here it is, Yashwant, on the screen right now, there are only 6 seats where the gap between the winner and the runner-up is less than 1,000. The Congress is winning on 4. If at all this gets normalized and evenly split, the Congress might go down to, the BJP could go up to, which takes the BJP past 50. So ulta ho sakta hai jo aap bol rahe ho uske.
I tell you,
if I look at seats where the margin is less,
like Hodal.
No, let's look at the big picture. Forget one seat. Look at the big picture.
In many of the states, including Gujarat, that how their huge margins in the urban pocket skew the state-wide vote share. The problem is that when I look into the state vote share, Congress is still leading over the BJP, even after that tally of BJP leading in 50-odd seats over there.
40% each.
40% each.
Yes. You're saying the BJP is leading by bigger margins, so that 40% is not a fair indication. But despite that, the BJP is ahead by 14 seats.
But the data is making the opposite point of what you're saying.
No, I'm just asking Rahul what is distribution. What seems to be happening? For your point about BJP winning certain seats with bigger margin is right. But what also seems to be happening that BJP is winning larger number of seats. So all you are doing at the moment is just looking at the mean. Whereas what's also happening that median is also going in favor of BJP. That's why you see if you add 40% plus vote share, BJP has 58 odd seats in its favor. Right? So given now that it's a positively skewed data. And so anything, it can become closer, but it won't reverse now.
All right, I'm getting your point, what you are trying to say. So it is probably, what you are trying to say that in probability, even if the marginals now swing the Congress way, the margin will get closer, but it doesn't seem like BJP number will be getting lower than the majority.
Yes.
Right.
Sir, just do simple maths. Even if I add all the seats where the Congress is 40% plus, the Congress only comes up to 44 seats. They're still short of the majority. If I add all the seats where the BJP is more than 40%, they're at 58. So Congress, even if everything between now and the end went their way, will only end up at 44.
That's remarkable.
The BJP is ending at 58.
Yeah, that's remarkable. That's remarkable.
No, but how is it so different from your poll?
No, it's different from a poll because, when you look into the state-wise vote share, our expectation that the Congress is polling more than the BJP, our expectation that the BJP is likely to win bigger number of urban seats with huge margins, and that will be skewing up. Let me put it the other way, all right? Look at it this way, that BJP with this vote share, what kind of numbers did it manage 5 years back? And Congress with the same vote share, what did it manage 5 years back? Now, how do you explain that Congress is getting almost the same seat even after adding 20% votes to its kitty?
See, essentially, I can make an attempt.
That's the contradiction of what you do the number crunching.
See, the problem happened was that the JJP vote, Congress literally maybe picked up those votes, brought it into its kitty, but it did not result into gaining all the seats in the same proportionality.
We found that BJP vote share is not going down. In fact, it is going up. We reported that. So as far as the BJP is concerned, there was no loss of vote. We reported that.
Yeah, you said 37, but you said the same as last time. They've gone up to 40.
No, but let's take a look at what's happened.
What is also happening?
What has happened is that the BJP has gone from 37 to 40. The Congress has jumped from 28 to 40. So the Congress, if they were feeling good about this election, they had some reason to, because their vote share did go up by 12%. But what they didn't realize is that BJP's vote share has also gone up by 3.
At the expense of JJP, and JJP has pocketed vote share only in Hisar belt.
Only they concentrated.
Okay, so Congress is gaining, and because of the bipolarity of the election, a more competitive election, even BJP this time is winning by lesser margins. So its vote share is actually a proportionate.
Are you saying that the JJP's decline, say 10 for every 10 votes, if the Congress has got 6 of them, the BJP is also getting 3 to 4. Are we saying that the BJP also is taking votes from JJP's decline, from the so-called third parties? When I add the two, we are at 80%. What was normally a 70% two-party race is now 80%. But the 10% has not gone uniformly to the Congress. A section of that has also gone towards the BJP. Am I correct?
That is also true, because in the Jat-dominated seats, if you see, out of 36, 18 or 17 is the number. In Lok Sabha,
now when you say Jat-dominated seats,
more than 20%.
More than 20%, which means, as we often forget, that
there are 80% left.
There are still 80% left.
And if they consolidate, what happens?
You see, there seems to be a counter consolidation.
Yes.
Anti-Jat consolidation. Every action has an equal and opposite reaction. So the Jat consolidation has also triggered a counter-Jat consolidation probably.
So is that perhaps where all pollsters, and this seems to be all, you're not, let's not single only you out. Every pollster seems to have got this election wrong.
You see, Rajdeep, BJP maintaining or adding to its vote share, it was reported. Congress is having a huge jump of votes, and their votes are going to be more than the BJP, it was reported. JJP was facing a meltdown, it was reported. How in number of seat share it is going to convert, that is always a tricky affair. After 10 years of incumbency, it goes with the logical conclusion and conventional wisdom. When a party in a position is having a 20% jump, then it is likely to end up with more seats. When a party with Prime Minister's popularity in Lok Sabha election manages to win 5 Lok Sabha and loses 5 Lok Sabha, and we have seen in the 5 years back when that party lost about 15% vote between Lok Sabha and Vidhan Sabha election, the conventional wisdom says that whatever votes they got in the name of Prime Minister Modi, that may or may not sustain in the assembly election. They have sustained in our exit poll, we reported that. But this vote to seat skewedness, this is something which once you get all the results in, then only what Preeti is saying, that at the micromanagement of the rebels, even though the others' votes have gone down, but we'll have to see which rebel has chopped up how many votes in which seat.
That's what two things I think have happened. Number one, which we've spoken of, the rebels, the independents have been the X factor. Number two, I do agree now, if you actually look at it, let's look at the Jat vote and you spread it out and you see there is a counter polarization on seats where it's happened, but it's a perfect storm with both of them coming in at play. The independents have cut into your vote, and on the other hand, there's been a counter Jat polarization even on Jat dominated seats. Look at it, in the heartland, the Jat heartland, the Congress is doing really well. But when it moves towards Mahindergarh, when it moves towards where the Yadavs, Ahirwals, Bishnois are, in quite a bit there, the BJP is doing well.
Okay, let's go to Pradeep Bhandari and Anshul Avjit. Pradeep Bhandari is a former pollster now with the BJP, and Anshul Avjit is Congress spokesperson. Pradeep Bhandari, you should be happy that you're no longer a pollster, because pollsters are having far tougher time. Much easier to be a BJP politician today and say, look, I told you so. Let's be honest, every pollster predicted a Congress victory. The BJP is winning Haryana.
Well, Rajdeep, let us understand to what has happened. What has happened in Haryana, and these trends will stabilize, is historic. Since Haryana elections have started to happen, no party has been able to form the government for third consecutive time. The Bharatiya Janata Party is getting more seats than what it got in 2014. All of this cannot happen because certain independents are fighting at 1 seat. Congress also had certain independents fighting. Both the parties had individuals who were disgruntled and fighting. It is a pro-development vote because we've got votes from across caste, across class lines, and it's not that one specific region is voted for us. If you look at the map of Haryana, we have got votes from across pan Haryana. That is point number one. Point number 2, look at the seat projection. If you would have projected seats of the Lok Sabha elections where we got 3% vote more than the Congress party, where we had equal seats in the Congress party, even in that scenario, our seat projection for a vis-a-vis assembly was more than the Congress party. So which means that we have gained votes more than what it was in the Lok Sabha elections 2024. This could not happen because just 5 independents are fighting at some constituency, 6 independents are fighting other constituency. This is purely a vote against the Congress party. That is point number 2. Point number 3. What was the narrative before the election, Rajdeep? A, the women are against us. B, the Dalits are against us. 3, that it's a completely given away election to the Congress party. Now, this has been proven that A, despite the wrestlers' protest, everything happening, the people of Haryana believed in our developmental politics. B, we also got Dalit votes. In fact, we've got more Dalit votes than what we got in 2024, which means that even the lower class is with us. It's not that the Jats have not voted us. The Jats have also voted us. If you study the constituencies where the Jats are in domination, we are not getting wiped out. So even there, our presence is there. This is only possible where the entire state of Haryana believes in getting a government for the 3rd consecutive time. It's not a coincidence or a tukka that we've come for the 3rd consecutive time. It's just not arithmetic which is there. It is also chemistry into picture. And allow me a 10 seconds final conclusion, Rajdeep. This is very important to understand that the BJP has set a trend of pro-incumbency. If you study elections on state level elections where the Bharatiya Janata Party has been in power, we have repeated maximum number of governments. If you remember Madhya Pradesh, if you remember Chhattisgarh elections 2023, the exit polls in Chhattisgarh were also saying that the Bharatiya Janata Party will not come. But the BJP came to power. Whereas you see the Congress Party, since 2011, the Congress Party has not repeated a single government. So it will be good to conclude that the anti-incumbency in governance is the trend with the Congress Party. Pro-incumbency in governance is the trend with the Bharatiya Janata Party. And this is the difference which Prime Minister Narendra Modi has had on the entire culture of the Bharatiya Janata Party.
Okay, Anshul, Abhijit, after that long statement by Pradeep Bhandari, your response. How do you see today's verdict? Clearly, Haryana is where you had put a lot of your eggs in and you've come unstuck. You've got egg on your face, if I may be allowed to say that. While in Jammu and Kashmir, it's the national conference that has pulled you up. So today, the only 2 parties celebrating will be Omar Abdullah and the BJP.
We should stop calling this a verdict. I mean, you're talking like there's some sort of fait accompli. You know, there are marginal seats still left, as was brought out by your discussion alone. And I think the election outcome will be decided by these kind of marginal seats. And therefore, we keep telling our election...
I've been hearing this for the last 2 hours. The numbers are now stabilizing, Anshul. You've been an academic. At some stage, you'll have to also start conceding.
We concede. Look, I will concede what I have to. Just, you know, what you've been calling this as hubris and all that, you know, I will interpret every word. We have been telling our election agents, you know, time and again, there are statements that have been said, and therefore even the petition to the Election Commission, be vigilant, be cautious, sit on your seats. Because this is a critical juncture in where the elections are counted. And finally, because I've gone through this process, so I know I've been there. I've been through the rigors of all this. So I will be vigilant over there, because finally the numbers will be tallied. And there's a lot of devilish things that happen in that room over when the counting is going on. So it's not over till it's over. It's not a verdict, Rajdeep. So before you call it that, yes, I do say that it should not have come to the marginal seats. We were quietly confident. There was no hubris involved. There's a difference between overconfidence and arrogance and ambition running away with ability and actual confidence about it, because, you know, there was no pro-incumbency. It's a misrepresented word. There were Pahalwan agitations. There was Agniveer. There was a dire state of the economy. High levels of
all of that is true, Anshul, Abhijit, then why is the Congress at 35 and the BJP at 49? At some level, you're in denial, your party is in denial, because your first instinct was EC's slowing the updating of the data, that there is something wrong and fishy in the way that things are panning out. You're not willing to accept that the BJP has beaten you fair and square in a straight-on duke.
अरे भाई अभी तो नतीजा आने दीजिए ना, आप पहले से ही कह रहे हैं ये सब बातें. I'm just saying that we cannot conclude at the moment prematurely. And we are, you know, this has happened. The tardiness of the Election Commission is nothing new. I've come across it even in the Lok Sabha election, when there were 10 rounds counted and you had two rounds announced. what this does to the morale of the counting agents is something to be believed and seen. I've been there, I've sat there, I know the kind of pressures that happen over
Pradeep
there.
Bhandari,
These are
the
not
fact
just things
is-
that are said in studios. You can say many things, but while you're out there, these things make a difference. And
Okay, but Pradeep Bhandari, if you look at the Haryana map, you know, it's very clear now and the picture is emerging very, very clearly. The entire GT Karnal belt, which is where the Congress had hoped to gain, has completely gone saffron again. The Ahirwal belt, the South Haryana belt, which again the Congress was looking to make gains, once again saffron. And what you've done now to add to your 2019 tally is pick up seats in the Jat heartland, pick up seats, on the east of Haryana, where you hadn't earlier. You've consolidated on what you had got, and you've picked up a few strategically with independence, however you might want to play it.
No, so Preeti, I mean, I'm not suggesting if these
No, this is for
results
Pradeep.
firm up. Yeah, fine. So if these, this is for him? Okay.
Studied, yeah, that question is for me, thank you. Preeti, if again you look at it demography-wise, we've got more women vote than what the Congress party has got. If you again further study it based on income level, you will see that the poorer the person, the more is the vote for the Bharatiya Janata Party, which is a testament of our developmental and welfare politics. That is point number one. Point number two, the Congress party was speaking about, again, this point of seats. If you deeply study the seats which are in close margin, it is not skewed. So it's not that only the BJP is leading on skewed close margin seats or only the Congress party is leading on skewed close margin seats. It is evenly poised in a 55-45%. This is where this trend, there is less likelihood for the trend to change on the seat share part. Arrogance is not what we were doing. I have done multiple debates with Congress party spokesperson. They were not even giving us 15 seats. There were various political analysts who were not giving us 10 to 15 seats. So they need to now concede and acknowledge that it's a pro-development vote, because this has not happened in Haryana. Till 2009, we did not even had a double-digit seats in Haryana. We were considered to be nobody. It's not a state which was erstwhile with us. So since 2009 to 2024, where now it is our bastion, where we've repeated it 3 consecutive times, which no other chief minister, no other party has done, you need to give credit that it is possible only because of development and welfare. Congress also feel in independence. We also feel it. It cannot be just on mathematics. And also on Jammu and Kashmir, we have got the maximum number of vote share even in Jammu and Kashmir, despite not having a base vote in the valley. So even in Jammu and Kashmir, if you compare two mainstream parties, Congress and the BJP, the Bharatiya Janata Party has got more votes than the Congress Party, triple the seats than the Congress Party, and we've also bettered our tally of 25, which was our historic best in Jammu and Kashmir. So this election proves, whether it is Jammu and Kashmir or Haryana, people are voting for us for purely and purely developmental criteria. And I'll just end with 15 seconds. If you remember in 2014, when you were analyzing the Lok Sabha elections, you used to term us as a Hindi heartland party. We got 90% seats from only 60% of the geographical base. In 2019, our geographical base further increased. We got seats from Bengal, Odisha. In 2024, even though we reduced certain seats in our traditional pockets, we further increased by ensuring that our government is formed in Odisha. We bettered our tally in southern states. So we are an ever-expanding party. We are increasing. We are reaching out to voters. So you need to acknowledge that it cannot be possible merely because of some arithmetic.
So, it is
only possible when large section of people across baselines votes you.
Yogendra Yadav made the point about the BJP being an inorganic party in Haryana. I think if you look at the historical data, there are some very interesting insights it throws up, because beyond what's happened in particular seats, if you look at the saffron surge from just 10% vote share in 2005, 9% in 2009, the party reaching 33% in 2014, 37% in 2019 to 40% now. So you've got 40 for the Congress, 40 for the BJP now. The others, whether it's the INLD or the JJP, now being reduced to a rump. The INLD at one time was 33%, now only 6%. The JJP in the last elections was 15%, now only 1%. It's the ascendance of the BJP and the fact that the BJP is now very clearly one of the two big poles in Haryana, which shows how quickly, that's the point that Pradeep was making, how quickly they've been able to expand and establish themselves in this.
Yeah, I mean, and that's probably because of their organization. I think at some point of time we have to look into these results also from the perspective of what organization can do for